McEwen's. You can do it with McEwen's. And 4 and 20, the great Australian taste.
On 7 Sport, it's the West Coast Eagles playing host to Melbourne as the home side goes for its 6th win in succession. With the Demons a game and percentage behind and still chasing the double chance, a win is a must and indeed a possibility, as they did win at Subi last year by 2 points. 3rd versus 4th in one of the big games of round 20 as the countdown to the finals continues. AFL action exclusive to 7 Sport.
And on a showery day in Perth, a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Subiaco and the final match of round 20, the West Coast Eagles versus Melbourne. In point of fact, after yesterday's shock results, it's not really 3rd versus 4th, it's 3rd versus 5th now, because we certainly had some, well, I'll say upset results at VFL Park, Princes Park, and indeed out at the Western Oval. Let's check the ladder as it stands after yesterday's round of matches, and in view of those results, a very important game for both clubs. Theoretically, the West Coast Eagles today could take top spot, but of course they would need to win by about 40 goals, and that won't be on. Equally, it's a vital game for Melbourne, because if they win, they can once again get back 4th spots, and they'll be level on points with Collingwood and also the West Coast Eagles. So a vital game here at Subiaco for both sides. When they last met, it was round 7, and Melbourne 18-8, 116, defeating the West Coast Eagles at the MCG 9-7-61. And also, Melbourne won here last year at Subiaco by 2 points. In view of the showers we've had, well, the crowd possibly at the moment not as big as it might be, but it's certainly building now because the sun has come out. We had some very heavy rain here in Perth this morning, but the weather is on the improve. Ross Glendinning, a very good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Peter.
Interesting matchup, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is, and I think it's probably the most important game for both sides for a couple of years. Melbourne have been the Eagles' nemesis over the last couple of years with some very tight finishes and tight wins to Melbourne, Peter, and they beat the Eagles here last year, so they're not afraid of this ground, which some sides are.
Will the rain I mentioned, Ross, help Melbourne?
Well, we had some early showers last week. It might help Melbourne. They're a very dogged side. They play very well under these conditions. However, it might clear enough. I'm just looking at the 5. There are so many possibilities now, Ross, after yesterday's results at the Park, Princes Park and the Western Oval. How do you see it? Do you think it'll change? Well, I think the actual the positions of the teams in the 5 will change, I think, Peter, but I don't think the actual teams in that 5. I don't think North or Carlton can get there. They've both got tough runs. They've left a little bit late, and they'll really rue the sides that they were beaten by early in the season. So the sides, I think, might finish with Essendon and Eagles finishing up in 2nd, I think, Peter. Hawthorn getting into 3rd, and Collingwood and Melbourne to play off in the elimination final. So looking at that there, I think there's some sides that the last game of the round 22, where Melbourne play Hawthorn, the MCG will be a crucial one. Yes, and they could also meet the following week in the elimination final. I would, and Hawthorn play Carlton in next week, so they've got a tough run home. Melbourne only play Richmond. When I say only, they've still got to win that game, and then they play Hawthorn, as I mentioned. So North played Collingwood in the last game of the year as well, so Collingwood under a bit of pressure, Peter. Well, Don Scott's got his fans in the outer again, and we're glad to report that. But of course, North and Carlton, 2 games out of the 5, so it's going to be tough for them to possibly get in and qualify for the September playoffs. A great game in store for us here this afternoon, the final game of round 20. Dennis Committee will be joining me in the commentary box this afternoon. We'll take a break, and we'll be back to preview the action after this.
Hi, I'm John Northey, and it's great to be part of Channel 7's telecast for 1990.
So important, especially with the way Hawthorn are playing at the present time. That's not to say, as you mentioned, Ross, Hawthorn can't make the top 3 themselves. As we take a look at the 2 lineups for this afternoon's game, Darren Bennett will start at full forward, back on familiar turf. He's kicked 70 goals this season.
And they've got Melbourne have Campbell lining up centre-half forward, and Malesso's had quite a good couple of games in this year, so a good test for him.
Brian Wilson, his 201st outing this afternoon.
And there's some doubt about Craig McGrath's right knee. Earl Spalding picked for centre-half back. I'd rather see him centre-half forward.
One of the keys to this game, the return of Peter Simic. Missed 3 weeks. How will he go this afternoon? That's the question.
And the followers, Irving's having a fine couple of games. Stein's, of course, a fantastic player. Rode is a very unobtrusive type, and Healy has been very workmanlike the last couple of years.
And the respective benches. Could be a change here. Waterman could come in for the Eagles. We're not sure about that. Plenty of run on the Melbourne bench. Both sides on the ground. Overcast. The rain is gone, though, for the present time. We'll be back with all of the action right after this.
Bright sunshine now after some heavy rain this morning. Let's go down to the ground now. Neil Poe is going to be keeping us up to date on what's happening down there this afternoon. Neil, what's it like?
Thanks, Peter. Well, what started out as an absolutely miserable winter's morning in Perth has turned out to be not too bad. There's probably more blue sky than grey clouds at the moment, although the forecast is for occasional showers. The temperature is 17 degrees, humidity 90%. With this morning's rain, the ground is going to be slippery, and there are southwesterly winds gusting to about 10 kilometres an hour, giving perhaps a goal advantage of about 2 goals to the city end.
Right, thanks very much, Neil. And it does look as though, gentlemen, there is one change in the Eagles lineup.
Yes, it does, Peter. It looks as though Craig McGrath will not line up with that right knee that's giving him some trouble, and into the side comes Chris Waterman.
And I'm not sure there's not a change in the Melbourne lineup either. I think Stephen Febey is out there. I'm not sure that Stephen Tingay is. We'll check them as they come closer to us. They're on the far side of the ground at the present time. There's Waterman in the tracksuit top. Now Melbourne.
Let's get your selections. First of all, Ross.
Well, with McGrath missing, Peter, he's been a very, very fine player at centre-half forward for the Eagles. I'll be interested to see now how they place their side with that player missing. And that really is a crucial miss, particularly as Sumich is only coming back, having not played for 4 weeks, puts more pressure on him. So, and these conditions slightly slippery will perhaps favour Melbourne more, but the Eagles really have a lot to gain from this, as both sides do, obviously. I just favour them a little.
Dennis?
Line ball, Pete, I think 15 straight at home for the Eagles, but by the same token, a lot of admiration for this combination. I think Melbourne a very gritty team. And so often when their backs have been to the wall, evidence Windy Hill just a few weeks ago, they've come up trumps. I don't know. Maybe Melbourne now McGrath's gone.
Toss of the coin job, isn't it, really? Melbourne winning here last year by 2 points in an absolute thriller. Steve O'Dwyer missing, of course, from their lineup. And he's a vital cog in the Demon machine. Darren Bennett, well, he's going to be a very important part of the side today. You were saying Ross before we came on air was actually born in Victoria.
He's a Dandenong lad, yes. So he's a gent that will have a great tussle with his former East Randall teammate Michael Brennan, yes.
And we all know his great kicking ability too.
Tingay is out there, so we're still missing a Melbourne player. Tingay and Febey, I think, coming across to man the bench for the Demons.
After yesterday's results, this game taking on even more importance for these two sides. Eagles always hard to toss at home, as we know, going for their 16th consecutive win, and that's an amazing record in modern day football. Interstate travel has never been liked by any club, but the Eagles this year have certainly adjusted a lot more to going over to the east and playing, and that's why they're currently in the top 3 on the ladder at the moment. So going to it's Begovic, number 44, first into the dugout
with Waterman.
And we've got a fight on the far side
before it's even underway.
Yes. That's not the main event we're watching there.
That's the preliminary. There's the siren. So we're underway with 2 fights going, one off the edge of the square, and they'll have to break it up. McKenna dispossessed pretty quickly, and the crowd really into this. Healy smothered by Brennan. Ball socket at the back of the pack. Lyon couldn't handle it. Spalding grab, not in possession. Free kick. No advantage rule. Spalding will go back and take it. Fiery opening, not entirely unexpected here at Subiaco. So West Australian to take the kick. Spirals it down. Bennett will be the target. 1 on 2. Can't take it. Jackson, always dangerous. That quickly holding the ball. Held it for a minute. Bennett, snapshot off target and 1 behind. So a point to the Demons. If there's any advantage, it's the other end of the ground, possibly 1 or 2 goals, but conditions not too bad for football, despite the heavy rain we had earlier this morning.
And Peter, the player missing for Melbourne is David Flintoff.
Thank you, Ross. Hawkeye Glendinning. Eishold gets a decent old shove in the back. Stretch comes out with the ball. Good hand pass onto Steins. 60 metres out. Subsequently goes in short. And the mark taken by Brownlow medalist Brian Wilson.
And it was Dwayne Lamb and Wilson who were having that scuffle as the ball was bounced to start the game. Lamb is the player tagging Wilson.
He's about 35 metres out, Wilson. 45-degree angle. Good-looking kick. Bending back. He's just missed. Off the boot, it looked a goal. Melbourne 2 behinds. The Eagles yet to go forward. Alexis in the back pocket. Gives it away straight to Campbell.
Another scuffle behind the play too now, Dennis, with Hughes and his marksman.
Campbell from left half forward. Irving goes back. Strong mark. The defensive side of centre half back. Looks a little slippery out there. Irving kicks towards midfield. Obst is up. Mark Andor free kick. I think they paid the free.
Emergency umpire came out to speak to Jay Viney and Hughes.
Obst plays on. Long kick down towards full forward. Bennett from behind. In front, Brennan. Belesso was there too. Brennan dives on top of the ball off the ground. Bennett picked up by Wilson, in trouble. Lamb over the ball momentarily. Back he comes again. They're going in very solidly. Brennan, hurried kick. McKenna's got the run of it towards the boundary line.
Spalding let one go.
Is that Yeats?
Yeats.
Yeats.
No love lost between those, is there?
Oh no, both probably the most important games you said in the lead-up, Peter, for both sides.
Wilson, almost. Eishold's hand pass, not a good one. There's a whistle. It's going to be a free kick for on the shoulder. Healy within kicking distance. And see what happened.
There's a tackle too high from Lewis, grabbing his jumper, but it was over the shoulder. Good decision by the umpires, in good position.
It's gone in short. I don't know whether he really gained that much. One of the most vital cogs in the Melbourne machine has the kick though, and that's Gary Lyon. Shoulder well strapped, isn't it?
Yes, and lining up in the forward area too, Peter, rather than the back line where he was named.
Didn't play anywhere. Gary Lyon, 45 metres out. Oh, he's got underneath that. Ultimately did get the distance, but only one behind. So 3 points to Melbourne. The Eagles yet to score at Subiaco. Demons doing all the attacking, and the Eagles yet to go over the centre. Miles chips it short. Could be dangerous, but Hart has taken the mark. Only about 30 metres out from his defensive goal. Kicks to centre wing. Kemp right underneath the ball. Chance for Marnie. Ball slapped towards the boundary line, and indeed crosses it right next to the interchange area.
And Marnie is lining up on Phil Scott, who's starting at centre half forward. Rod Grinner picking up the dangerous Brett Hetty.
And slaps it down again. Wilson fumbles at the crucial moment. Should get a kick in, does, but it's smothered off the boot. Not out of bounds on the full, and it will be a throw-in almost in the identical position.
And a bit of a mismatch here at the moment. Guy McKenna picking up Earl Spalding.
Throw in on centre wing. Knocked down by Scott. It's an Eagles ball. Kemp. Up towards centre wing. Hughes.
Made the mark.
And he plays on quickly. Eagles forward line very open at the moment. Hughes and Sumich. And the ball's going to beat them to the boundary line. No, it's not. It's kept in play. Sumich. Play on will be the call. Hughes thumps it clear. That's as good as a kick. At the Simon Eishold at the left half-back flank.
Kicks towards centre wing. Desperate attempt to mark there by Spalding. Couldn't rake it in. It's out of bounds and will be thrown in. Just over 20 minutes remaining in this opening term.
And the Eagles have Peter Belesso at fullback now on Bennett, with Michael Brennan picking up Gary Lyon.
Steins in front, Irving from behind. Right over the top, Scott crashed heavily. And another throw in. Overcast conditions, the breeze a fluky one to the left. The Eagles have the advantage of it. Big game for both these teams. The season very much on the line. Steins. Lyon going nowhere. Mainwaring. Well played. Now he's in trouble. The umpire decides on a bounce. Chris Mainwaring started slowly this season. Gradually running into form. The umpires, Sheehan and Rich. Landed a bouncer.
That's Rich.
Comes to Lewis. Hurried kick towards half forward. Road hits it in front. Grinter out wide towards centre wing. Wilson has been active so far to Obst. Sweeping hand pass. Stretch hard against the boundary line. Can have a run. Stephen Stretch one bounce. Long down towards the pocket. Bennett on the lead. What a great kick.
Bennett really was deceived there, Dennis. He thought that Stretch was going to bring that ball around toward the centre of the ground with his left foot, but in fact Bennett kept going to the boundary line. That's where the ball finished up. Malesso, as you can see on the screen there, had gone far too far to his left.
A key player in this game, has kicked 5 or more goals in 7 matches this season. His best effort, 8 against North Melbourne in round 1. Darren Bennett.
By 9 points. The Eagles really not looking methodical at all. Up over the centre line, punch away by Steins, picked up by Kemp. A wild hand pass, almost thrown out the back. Hart to Lamb. Excellent smother. Rebounds to Wilson from Obst. Short. Bennett again. And Bennett well within kicking distance.
Great smother by Obst.
Fantastic. And that kick from Wilson taking advantage of the smother from Obst, and a good lead by Bennett. It's going to be quick off the mark from Malesso. Already another change by Michael Malthouse. He's put Guy McKenna on Gary Lyon.
Bennett from 45. And what's he done with that one? It's a goal. 2 goals to Darren Bennett. Didn't really get right onto it, but it just scraped in distance-wise. Melbourne 2-3. The West Coast yet to score.
A good example there, Peter, where I think Melbourne will be a real test for the Eagles today with the smother coming from Obst. They play footy one-on-one, which the Eagles don't particularly like. And the ball spilling free to the fortunate Wilson, who as usual was fairly elated with that finish off. Brennan and Bennett.
It's a dish up in the goal square. Ball was bounced back in the centre. Eishold kicks it down in their direction, but it's out wide. Thumped away. Now a chance for Stretch. Right on the boundary line. Lyon will do the shepherding if he can pick it up. Gets a quick kick at the ball. In towards Obst. Out comes Brennan. Grabbed by Obst. Did he have it? Jackson. Snapshot. Bounces. And for one behind only. That would have been a miraculous goal had he brought it off. 17.5 minutes left in the first quarter. It's been action-packed so far. The Demons by 16 points. And it will be Hart to kick the ball back into play.
It did seem Brennan was held a long time in the tackle.
It would appear so.
Still. The Demons want the ball most at the present time. Hart kicks towards the outer side. Over the top, Irving tries to fist it forward. This is Turley with a run of it. Well played, Craig Turley. Now Heady. Thought about the hand pass, elected not to. Kicks towards centre half forward, ill-directed. Storming up the ground, Melbourne's Jay Viney. Down he goes. He's over the ball. Should have got a free kick for a push in the back. Some desperate stuff in there, and eventually a whistle and a push is awarded to Lovett.
That's about the 3rd free kick there he picked out, Dennis.
Brett Lovett having a wonderful season. From right half back, squares the ball. Jim Steins, the true centre half back position towards the outer side. Stretch leading in the race and doing very well in the early going. Strong tackle by Kemp though. Lewis arrives on the scene. It's going to be a free kick to Kemp. Advantage is paid. Lewis storms around the outer side, gets it to Langdon. He's confronted, knocked away by Grinter. Well played. Eishold goes off the ground towards midfield. Coming up to meet the ball is Spalding. Brilliantly done. A deft deflection across to Lyon, who centres the ball, and Healy takes the mark. Too far out to score. Interesting, Malaxis has started in a back pocket. Healy long towards full forward, and why not? Bennett's been a star, almost the mark. Falls forward, Jackson snaps, hits the post. Bad luck.
Mickey Jackson, very dangerous, always dangerous, close to goal. And another coat of varnish just made the difference between that and another few points. 2-5. Eagles yet to score. Just under 16 minutes left in the quarter. Melbourne's forward line looking much the better of the two at the moment. Wilson underneath it, he's been busy. Has it knocked away by Irving. Lyon, good to see him playing well. Bennett, well, maybe the umpire said play on, might have been touched off the boot. Kemp from Malaxos. Otherwise, there was no reason why he wouldn't go for the mark. Lewis on right centre wing for the West Coast Eagles. Steins in pursuit. Could have gone for the hand pass, elected instead to go long. Big pack of players. No mark paid. Hughes off the ground, the tactic that Hawthorn used very successfully yesterday at VFL Park. Eishold Hits it further forward for Spalding. Long kick up towards 50 metres. Obst. The South Australian brilliant centering kick. Bennett again, and marks in front of Brendan.
And Malthouse has made the change back with Brendan going back onto Bennett. Bennett proving too elusive for Malesso, who's going to be too slow. What some great work by the Melbourne defence to get that ball clear. They've really bottled up the Eagles forwards and worked that ball beautifully down, as Peter said, by foot off the ground. Good tactics in these conditions.
Darren Bennett, he's kicked 2 goals, but we haven't really seen him get onto one distance-wise. He'll need to from there. Plenty of distance in that kick. Goal umpire doesn't move.
Discarded by the West Coast Eagles. Darren Bennett, no doubt enjoying this at the present time. Steins, not a good kick, taken away by Heady. High one towards half forward. Ugle goes back. Jay Viney comes over the top, thumping away. Well played by Narkle. He's got the run of it. Assisting him, Lewis. He's in trouble. Now Scott running away from his own goal. Well tackled by Lovett. Lewis again. Great pressure from Melbourne. Back it comes towards Narkle. Road goes over the ball, slaps it out wide. Healy, head down, long hand pass. Grinter's got it. Healy is still down. Meantime, on the outer side, Stretch and Grinter get together. The kick goes through centre wing. Malesso coming through strongly. Lyon, well played by Lyon. Eventually, though, Kemp
behind the play involved in a rather interesting incident. Dennis?
The ball is out of bounds on centre wing. Best you tell us about it, Pete.
Well, Greg Healy got flattened, and Chris Lewis was the man closest to him.
Yes, and Lewis and Steins are having a bit of a go in the centre of the ground before that, so they'll be at it all day, I'd say.
Crowd really getting into this now. It's going to be a West Coast Eagles free kick to be taken by Craig Turley at right centre wing.
In the back.
The Eagles really need to get something on the board. Lamb at the back, a fist forward. Narkle almost grabbed too high. Grinter tries to slap it out and keep it away from Lamb. Can't do it. Bounce right on 50. And I think Greg Healy is still seeing stars. They might be on one of those very quickly. Steins and Scott. Yeats shovels it into the open spaces. Jay Viney went through pretty solidly. He's going to come out of it with a free kick because he was grabbed when not in possession.
And it's 52. Troy Ugle believing the free kick was going to Main Waring, which was a bit odd. There's a definite free kick there to Viney. Held on as he's making play. And the 50-metre penalty occurring with Ugle trying to delay play.
So Jay Viney still inside the centre square. Chance to put Melbourne deep into its attacking zone. Bennett leads again and marks.
Fantastic mark to Darren Bennett. Getting front position on Michael Brennan, who's finding his height and his leaping ability, that of Bennett talking about. A bit much of a handful, as we see, as that happened, Troy Ugle come off and Chris Waterman go on.
Similar scenario to yesterday. A forward in great touch, Jason Dunstall at VFL Park. Darren Bennett here today, making the difference. It's a goal.
Big start by Melbourne and Darren Bennett. Eishold, hurried kick out of the centre towards half forward. Lyon, awkward half volley, goes back afterwards, socket away by McKenna. Eishold again. Spalding's got it now. Intercepted by Malesso. The Eagles need to steady. Malesso goes towards half forward, bounces off the chest of Waterman on the ground. Socket away well by Steins, picked up by Road. Melbourne looking great at the present time. Stretch on the outer side. Towards half forward. Sliding in was Hart. McKenna. Malaxos. Turley. That was a measured hand pass and a good one. Turley. Caught though by Obst. Lewis has it now. A high kick towards centre wing. Eddie running with the flight of the ball. Narkle breaks for him. That's the direction the kick takes. Narkle outside the 50. Thought about going and checks. Melbourne 4-5. The Eagles yet to score. Very static up ahead of Narkle. Hence his hesitation. A kick with no conviction. Off hands. Hughes. Neither was that. Out of bounds on the full.
You just noticed there too, Dennett, as Peter Sumich went to take that mark. A little rusty. Should have taken what was an easier mark for him.
Scott in front. Couldn't mark the Narkle kick. Turley has it. Kicks towards full forward. Hughes out in front. Takes the defensive mark. Danny Hughes plays on towards centre wing. Wilson the fly from behind. Irving couldn't control it. Eishold off the ground. It was unfairly dealt with too. Lyon, Lovett, kicks inside the 50. Here comes that man again. Bennett couldn't hang on that time. Brennan goes off the ground.
Simon Eishold still in the hands of the trainers, as you said, unfairly dealt with. Dennis, good smother by Steins, and that helps his teammate in stretch. Short pass, ill-directed. Malaxos, Campbell, Miles in pursuit. Malaxos again playing in front of Healy. Malaxos up towards centre wing. Obst, who's been brilliant what he's done so far. Rowe, 2-on-1 in favour of Melbourne, but it goes to Langdon. Haven't seen much of him so far. Great tackle stretch. Ball spills free. Jay Viney, who's been solid. Malaxos again playing in front. And we'll go back this time for the kick. Discarded by Hawthorn. Steve Malaxos from right centre wing. Marnie tried to punch. Not much conviction in that. Scott taking the mark. Onto Kemp. Still inside the square. Onto Turley. The Eagles not going too far. Danny Hughes safe in defence for the Demons. And Sumich stands the mark. Forward line of the Eagles in disarray at the moment. Yet to score. And 9 minutes left in this quarter. Flintoff. Well, Lovett it is rather. Ball knocked away, out of bounds. So a throw in at left half forward for the West Coast Eagles side. Ground here at Subiaco, a little bit sticky after the rain, but now bright sunshine. Knocked down to Wilson. A quick hand pass, if you could call it that. Lewis, Hart at left half forward. This is a little bit better, and Sumich this time leading out well.
The space created well by the forwards in front of him, but on that occasion, the first thought done by the Eagles players, getting that ball out of that boundary thrown, previously coming through the centre, where we saw Hughes take the mark. They had 3 and 4 separate instances where they should have got rid of the ball on the first occasion. This time they did. Sumich has a shot.
And Healy looks as though he may be coming off after that heavy knock he got earlier. Is that the Eagle first score? The centre, Healy off the ground. As I said, copped a nasty knock. We copped a couple of knocks. One was behind play. Lamb out of the centre, not very far. Mark taken by Yeats. The umpire, in fact, called play on, which he does. Still right off the edge of the square. That's a strong grab.
Well, so good mark.
Mainwaring from half back. Around Spalding. Marnie, a punch away. Stretch, who's been brilliant. Ball smothered. Langdon at half forward. Hurried hand pass. Standing start from Hart. Well smothered by Stretch. Kemp spins out. He'll give it to Lewis. Can the Eagles build something here? They need to. Waterman, a late inclusion in the side, and Heady takes the mark. And still within kicking distance. He'll be about 45 out from goal.
Brett Heady, one of the rookies of the year. He'll take a good kick from here. It's Melbourne by 23 points. This crowd has built up probably around the 35,000 mark now. Right into this game. Heady thinks he can do it. He's played a lot of football at Subiaco Oval. Drafted from that club. Slides it across the face. Irving.
Good mark by Irving. He's now into changing centre half forward with full Scott on and off the ball. He's going to bring the ball back. The umpire hadn't set the player on the mark. It's unusual, that rule. They've got to either set the player on the mark and not allow the player to go across ground. It's a bit the same when players get a free kick in the back line for an out of bounds on the full. They must kick over the mark. Umpires interpret that differently.
Dean Irving, a young man who's keeping Laurie Keane out of this team. He's playing some fine football, Irving. Runs around, opens up the goal, kicks. Misses, I fancy, to the near side. He has. First behind on the board for the Eagles. 1-1, plays 4-5. Sunny at the present time. That's encouraging.
And the breeze, Dennis, now coming across the ground a little. It was favouring the screen or the ground from right to left as we look at it.
Hughes kicks in, slightly favouring the outer side. Steins in front, fisted away Steins to get the free. Scott offending. Jimmy Steins from half back, kicks towards centre wing. Lyons in front, knocked away by McKenna. Lyon roving the pair of them though, does well, knocks it off the ground. McKenna comes back, shovels it across to Hart. In a trice, got it across to Lewis. Spearing pass, Sumich caught under the ball, knocked away by Hughes. Falls to Narkle. Will-o'-the-wisp in the pocket. Narkle centres. It's a 2-on-1 situation for the Eagles. Waterman leading back in the race. Crashing in was Yeats. And the ball goes out of bounds. A good result from Melbourne's perspective. Momentarily, the Eagles had a 2-on-1 situation. The Eagles bench. Ugle in the foreground and Begovic. Throw in right on the 50-metre line. Rucks go at it. Irving. Put it straight down to Jackson. A hurried kick taken by Lamb. He played on. Obst on him very quickly, and the ball just trickles across the boundary line.
Boundary throw in. 5.5 minutes left in this quarter. Left half forward flank for the West Coast Eagles. Steins hits it down. Might find the boundary line. No, Turley gets there first. Shovels it back to Mainwaring. Long kick. Where's Sumic? Oh, good mark to Marnie and get some attention.
Could be a handy player, but if he can hold down a key position, either fullback or centre half-back.
Nice and tall, Ross, isn't he?
My word.
Steins. To get into the back of his opponent there, so the crowd will be happy with that. Having seen a similar incidents on the other side of the ground go the other way. Malesso, who is a much-travelled footballer. It's been well documented. Kicks to half forward. Sumic, well, if he was rusty early, he's not anymore, Ross.
Yes, and that was a fine kick by Malesso. Stretch came across from right to left to try and intercept that kick. Couldn't get hands on the ball. You see this Stretch in front. You'll see that. Couldn't get his hands on it. A good mark by Sumic. That's a confident one.
So Peter Sumic to kick for his second goal and make it a clean slate for the full forwards, because Bennett has 4 and Sumic 1 so far. Road at the last line of defence. Stretch and Kemp, and the boundary line is the winner. In fact, it's kicked out on the full. So who's going to get it? Kemp, it would appear. A little bit of luck going the Eagles' way. Must have come off his bootlace, I think. Kemp inside 50, or he will be when he takes the kick. With just under 4 minutes left in the term. Should have the breeze basically behind him. Distance shouldn't be a problem. And ball off the hands of the pack. Goal umpire indicating 1 behind. So it's 1-2 now to the Eagles, and Melbourne 4-5, getting off to a great start. 21 points the difference.
Bad luck for the Demons too. That breeze certainly has shifted around almost across the ground, as Peter was saying. Hughes kicks in, members side. Obst, who's been very impressive, strong mark. Away he goes, running away from half-back, wobbles one towards centre wing. Spalding just forward of the wing. Melbourne started so well. The Eagles settling now. Malaxis in front, knocked away by Tingay. McKenna on the half-back flank to Lewis. They're coming from everywhere. Mainwaring, it's a hot potato. Malesso couldn't pick it up, knocked away by Tingay. Obst, well done, strong tackle, Lewis.
It was a strong tackle by Chris Lewis, who's been a bit intent on going the man, but that was far better.
Centering kick, they're exposed here. Stretch.
Is he playing well?
Well, it's a good intercept. He missed the previous one with Sumic taking the mark. Read that very well.
Stretch kicks to space. Campbell on the lead. Pitches in front of him. 65 metres out from goal. Pulls it back across his body. Too tall down there is Scott. Mismatch. Goes to Ricky Jackson. Good big man. What do they say? Scott does anyway. Kicks towards the outer side. Langdon surrounded, but a strong mark. Brennan takes the hand pass and kicks towards half forward. Waterman. Good to see him back. Sumic on the lead. Bounces off his chest. Mainwaring and Grinter. Grinter was taken high. No free kick. It matters not. Wilson gets it out wide. This is Yeats. Running it up towards centre wing. Yeats from the wing towards half forward. Malesso going back. Good mark.
So better than good. Excellent mark to Malesso. Eagles defence working well now. The ball is kicked up towards Mainwaring. Out it comes to Scott, who's been busy. Holding the man surely. Kemp the advantage. Malaxos takes advantage of that. Wide and Stretch. Kicks long up towards Sumic, who marks in front of Hughes.
Yes, that previous mark that Sumic went for from the Waterman kicked, I think Hughes just got a fistule, which is good play. On this occasion, Sumic too quick. Hughes likes to bustle and upset his full forward. He does it quite well, a very strong, robust player. Sumic a chance to do something with this kick.
Danny Hughes has done well on the mark. He's cribbed about 5 metres there.
Yes. Old campaigner Danny. Minute left in the quarter. Subiaco for his second. A valuable one to the Eagles. And he might have just missed that to the far side. One behind. 1-3 to 4-5 in a very entertaining quarter of football. Melbourne jumping away like ugly platers, but the Eagles getting their game together now. Grinter boots it and kicks in long, and Spalding should know this ground pretty well, taking the grab. For right half back, kicking to centre wing. McKenna might have got a hand to it. Gets overrun. Gary Lyon. Malaxos, who's been busy. McKenna hits it back to him, or did he go to the boundary line? Deliberate. I'll tell you what, they're hot on that this year, aren't they? McKenna scratches the head. It's a Melbourne free kick, though, going to Gary Lyon, and great to see him back in the side. Means so much to the Demons. Lyon kicks long. Obst, who's been brilliant this quarter.
Marcus got better.
Not going to him, though. There's the siren, though, so there won't be any further scoring. And what a quarter it was as John Northey comes out to address the side with his team leading 4-5 to 1-3 at Subiaco. The opening term have been kicked by the full forwards. Darren Bennett, 4 goals to take his season's tally to 74. And Peter Subiaco is the goal kicker for the West Coast Eagles. A couple of reminders coming up on 7 Sports. Don't forget, next weekend we enter the business end of the NBL season. The competition should be pretty fierce as the nation's top teams battle it out for a spot in the playoffs. 1990 NBL season. Check your local guides for details of the coverage. And let's speak about tennis too, because after defeating New Zealand, and by golly, that was some time back now, wasn't it? Australia's Davis Cup squad certainly will be fired up for the next tie. It's on September 21, 22 and 23 from White City in Sydney. Australia versus the Argentinians in the semi-finals of this competition. And of course you'll see all the action right here on 7 Sports. Pretty interesting match as the coaches finish their addresses at quarter time. Ross Glendinning, how did you see it?
Well, Melbourne were very, very good in that first quarter. They manned up, and that's what the Eagles don't particularly like. And obviously John Northey, in his visit last week to watch the Eagles play Richmond, was very much aware of that, and they've manned up very, very well today. And statistically, Melbourne having more kicks and using the ball more effectively. But other than that, it's been fairly even, although on the scoreboard, with Darren Bennett doing very well at full forward, has been the difference.
All right, well, let's go down to the boundary line now to find out what the coaches had to say at quarter time. Here's Neil Poe.
Thanks, Peter. Well, Mick Malthouse told his side that the difference between the two wasn't Darren Bennett despite his 4 goals. It was the way Melbourne were attacking the ball and delivering it to him. He said that if they couldn't handle this game, which he described as their first final, and there's no point really going on. John Northey told his side not to relax and not to expect the breeze to do it for them this quarter. And a footnote on Greg Hill, he's got concussion and isn't expected to play again.
Right, thanks, Neil. 20 points the difference as players take up their positions. Darren Bennett kicking 4 in the first quarter. Second quarter from Subiaco. Melbourne leading 4-5 to 1-3. The Demons getting a dream start here. Bennett booting 4 and Subiaco 1. Goal kickers in the opening term. Knocked down by Steins. Hedy's kick as well smothered. He gets a second chance. Gets it out to Lewis. Socket off the ground. Down towards Melbourne's half-forward line. Malaxos gets met pretty solidly by Spalding, although he brushed most of it off. Narkle, Sandover medalist, inside the square. Plenty of open space down there. Subiaco, brilliant, in front of Hughes, takes the mark.
Well, so it was well played by Steve Malaxos to clear the ball. A good shepherd coming from Peter Malesso to allow him to steady and break free. And there, Peter Subiaco, not quite at full stretch, obviously a little bit concerned about that hamstring, but still quick enough to get in front of Danny Hughes.
I'd like to be able to move that quickly. Subiaco will run out to the left, draw it back. He's drawn it back too much, might be out of bounds. It is. So maybe the hamstring worrying him in his kicking action. Steins is going to take it, and not Peter Road, it looks like. Steins from left back pocket. Goes close to the boundary line. Big pack of players there. Hughes is the one to come down with the mark for Melbourne. Certainly got his hands full this afternoon with Peter Sumich. Obst was brilliant in the first quarter. Shrugs the tackle from Narkle, kicks long up towards centre wing, and that's a good mark taken by Earl Spalding. Just on the attacking side of centre wing left. And he centres the ball, looking for and finding Darren Bennett. This time not really leading out, but a good strong pair of hands he's got, Ross.
Yes, and too tall again for Brennan, who was playing from behind, so he can follow both the player kicking the football to Bennett and Bennett himself and trying to spoil, but on that occasion couldn't even break the arm free from the ball.
They're getting him one out. That's helping. There's Darren Bennett there, just inside the 50. It's bending back superbly, straight through the middle. Darren Bennett has 5 goals. Melbourne have 5. They're 5-5. The West Coast Eagles are 1-3. Back in the middle. One down by Steins. Heady again. Smothered again. Sliding in Mainwaring. He'll get the free.
Too high on the shoulder.
That's been the scene at the last 2 centre bounces. Steins down to Heady. His kick on both occasions smothered. The kick towards half forward from Mainwaring. Fisted away by Jay Viney. Obst is over the ball and in trouble. Spills wide, taken by Lewis. Hart surrounded, confronted by Grinter. Melbourne work it forward. Well done, Eishold to love it. Now with Stretch, who's been a star. Tingay in front, good mark. Tingay, too far out to score. Only a youngster. Has played in every game this season. From 60 metres down towards full forward. Big packet, falls forward. Jackson, open goal. Turns around and gets it.
It was too easy.
Melbourne are 6-5. The West Coast Eagles are 1-3.
That's where they're going to have their work cut out. The Eagles, not only is Bennett dominating, but if he doesn't mark, Jackson reads the ground, or the ball off the ground so very well. He kicked 6 goals last week with Bennett 5. Spalding did well to get in front. And Jackson totally unattended there. David Haas can pay a lot more attention to him, having had a fine game last week on Michael Mitchell.
The Eagles have won their last 15 games at home, but they've got their work cut out if they're going to win this one. They trailed 1-3 to 6-5. Jackson won. And that broke the run by Darren Bennett, who's kicked 5. Lamb can't get it. Now it's Tingay again. One of his first games. Won the match off his own boot. Last kick of the day. Here he is again. Tingay kicks long. Bennett with one hand. Can't mark. Can he recover? Jackson does well off the ground. Is that a mark? Eishold has grabbed it. Must have just travelled the required distance.
And Pete, you can't speak too highly of their work in the centre square, Melbourne. Again there, the pressure was such they initially smothered and then worked it forward.
The Melbourne supporters know what Simon Eishold can do. We remember that kick in the preliminary final of a few years back at VFL Park. He kicked it at right angles. That looks a little better, but not that much better. One behind to the Demons. Under 21 minutes left in the quarter, 6-6 to 1-3. And the Eagles languishing at the moment. They'll need to do better. Melbourne a very underrated combination. Steins punches the ball clear of Malesso. And the umpire has blown the whistle. It's going to be an Eagles free kick to Steve Malaxos onto Heady. Attempted smother by Obst, not successful. Craig Turley, short of right centre wing, looks for Narkle. We've got 2 hands to it, but it's out of bounds, and the throw in right in the middle of the interchange area on centre wing.
And the compliment there to Phil Narkle with Red Lovett picking him up.
Steins. Stretch. Obst, brilliantly done by the South Australian. Obst from left half forward. Centering kick. Bennett almost. But geez, doing well up there. Mainwaring. Turley. Heady. Is that a mark? Yes, paid by the umpire.
And/or free kick, Pete.
Yes, and/or free kick. One of the rookies of the year. Scott in good position. Road takes him down, but it will be his ball. Malesso. As we said earlier, a much-travelled footballer. Finding some form at long last. Carl Langdon's been quite good. Tackle by Viney. And the ball taken over the line by Eishold's throw in right half forward.
Troy Ugle warming up to come back onto the ground, but just see who comes off.
6-6 to 1-3. Steins wins it down. Wilson in the congestion. Grinter slaps it out wide. Grinter is down.
Yes, there's a free kick there. Mainwaring came through, took him high. Grinner made it look worse than what it was.
Got up pretty quickly.
It's interesting again, it happened yesterday with Mullane and Dunstall. If a free kick's paid for that, is it reportable?
Melbourne work it forward. Scott couldn't hang on. Tingay goes in and we'll have a ball up. Yes, in the replay it didn't look too good, did it?
It is Narkle coming off for Ugle.
A bounce just inside the centre square. Lyon. Off the ground by Obst, who's been very busy and constructive. Pushed off the ball that time. Well done by Kemp. Slips it away to Malaxis. He's on centre wing. Long inside the 50. Irving in best position. Strong mark. Marnie was bearing down, but Irving stood his ground well.
Marnie got caught out there, Dennis, because he watched Irving rather than the flight of the football and Malaxis' foot where the ball was coming from. Didn't get there in time.
Melbourne haven't made too many mistakes. Dean Irving. The Eagles needing a goal. Kicks from right on the 50. It's coming around nicely. Has it got the carry? I don't think so. Yes, it has, says the umpire.
You can't argue with the goal umpire when he stands right on the line. 6-6 to 2-3. Goal to Irving, just what the Eagles needed. Tingay out of the centre. Good young player onto Lyon, who's a brilliant one. McKenna likewise. Always seems to have plenty of time to do something with his kick. Not so many options for him there. I think he was going for Mainwaring, but it wasn't delivered well. So bright sunshine now. And maybe things looking up a little bit for the Eagles. Spalding and Scott. One by Scott. Tries to take it out himself. Finally does so. Kick short. Stein's on his own. Irving late on the scene. Snares him beautifully. Grinter, who copped one before, but he wins them and wears them.
Yes, he said he's going to be far more controlled in his comeback game, so let's hope so, because he can play football.
No doubt about that. Steins and Scott, they've had a great battle so far. Lewis has got speed. Marnie, like the style of this young fellow, with Irving. Graeme when he didn't have it, surely. Steins, good hand pass. Jay Viney. Short kick up the centre wing, bump ball. Obst can't take it. Oh, Lamb nearly had his head taken off. And comes out well. Great stuff from Dwayne Lamb. Lewis, tackled by Jackson. Dropped it pretty quickly. Still got his kick. Well played. Steins, but there is a whistle on the shoulder, says the umpire.
He's coming back to Lewis.
And Chris Lewis will take the free kick. Left centre wing.
The problem the Eagles are facing, every time they break clear to try and pass to a teammate, that teammate is also in trouble with a Melbourne player manning up. And that's where they're falling down. They can't break free.
It's the Demons by 27 points. Lewis towards centre half forward. Irving got a hand on it. Kemp goes off the ground. Over the ball at centre half forward initially was Viney. It spills to Hetty. Good hand pass. Mainwaring with the run of it. Is it right half forward? Goes towards the pocket. And Sumich had that half yard. And that was enough.
It had to be, because the kick from Mainwaring was not a good one. It was a floater. The intention was there, but the execution not so good. And a good mark to Sumich. This side will favour him.
He's kicked one so far. 42 plays 15. Melbourne so far very impressive. But the Eagles have shown tenacity this season. They have the ability to come back. And so does that ball. It was bending left to right. The last margin is 21 points. Back in the middle. Scott, clean possession. He's doing well now. Again, half smothered, as was that kick from Grinter. Knocked out wide by Jackson. Hart left it behind. Yeats was taken high. Flipped out to Jackson eventually. He boots towards half forward. Tingay, the juggled mark. No, it hit the ground. He was taken high. He'll get the free kick at right half forward.
Stephen Tingay to put Melbourne back into attack. Crowd being really treated here to some top stuff. Two full forwards, great full forwards playing. But Campbell this time takes the missed kick.
Oh yeah, it was a bad missed kick there by Tingay, but Jeff Miles, who was Campbell's opponent, was running to the square expecting the long torpedo to come in. Campbell, lazy behind, was the fortunate play to mark.
It'll go down as an effective pass. Campbell from 30 metres might have missed. Has missed. Tony won't be too happy with that. 14.5 minutes left in the quarter. 22 points the difference. 3-3 to 6-7. Great game of football. A vital game. a mini final being played at Subiaco this afternoon, and a capacity crowd just on to the centre square. Will Langdon get there? Lamb beats him to it, shovels it out in front to Heady. He was rather statuesque though. Going to get a free kick, maybe luckily.
The road held on, they were very lucky. Why Lamb didn't kick's got me bothered.
Heady's kick, marked by Scott, who's doing well. Hart, chased by Yeats. High kick, up towards full forward. Ugle at the back. Jay Viney. Ugle again. Lamb, this time will he kick it? Hughes, great tackle on the shoulder.
Yes, he ducked his head a little, Peter, and then Hughes came through strongly, expecting Lamb to be standing upright. He ducked a little on the hand of, or the arm of Hughes over the shoulder. See here, Hughes comes through strongly. It's his left arm over the shoulder, the left of Lamb. Free kick.
Not the leg of Lamb.
That's a trip.
Or a roast.
Well, the umpire might get one, but not for this, because it's an Eagles free kick. Melbourne supporters won't be happy. Dwayne Lamb directly in front, 25 metres out. The crowd likes it. It's a goal. Dwayne Lamb's first and the Eagles fourth. They come a little bit closer, 6-7 to 4-3 at Subi.
Dwayne Lamb's had the task of shutting down Brian Wilson, who's now right back at the other end of the ground. Lamb will run back to pick him up. Definite free kick there, well picked by the umpire. A good finish by Dwayne Lamb, who's not noted for his goal kicking or his penetrating kicking, but very effective nevertheless.
So the Eagles are looking better. They've got plenty of hometown support. 6-7, 4-3. Just over 13.5 minutes remaining till half-time. Rucks go at it, one down by Scott. Eishold taken high, and he'll get the free kick alongside the centre circle. No concessions being made by either side. Eishold going for distance towards centre-half forward. Spalding the target. Up he goes, surrounded. It falls behind. An opportunity for Bennett. Knocks it across towards Tingay, who goes off the ground cleverly. Wilson, he's gone out of the game. Tingay couldn't control it. Goes again with courage. Eventually it spills wide. McKenna breaks away. Kicks through centre towards half forward. And the strong mark is taken by Irving. He's marked a couple on the forward line. Malthouse, I suppose, now is happier. The kick inside the 50. It falls behind the leading target. That was Sumich. With him was Hughes. Road goes to the outer side, and Yeats at full stretch. Hard against the boundary line. Often reserves his best for the Eagles. Yeats from right half back. A long kick, all of about 60 metres. Obst got a fist on that, going back on Turley. Opportunity now for Tingay, only as far as Kemp. Kemp inside the centre square. Teammates barking instructions. He swings it out wide. Ugle. He's marked it. Too far out to score. Turley runs on.
Call play on the umpire.
Must have looked at Turley. Now he goes to Turley. It was open for an eternity. He thought about playing on. Now he does towards full forward. Sumich behind and touched the mark.
Free kick, Dennis. He nosed him out. He said the umpire, Sheehan, nosed him out with his hips.
So tit for tat down there, because Denny Hughes gave away the last one. Now he's got the free kick. Would have been a certain goal. Now he can't do that. Got to kick over the mark.
Just as well.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting that, isn't it? Any other part of the ground you can go to the side, but from the full back or full forward line, you're not allowed.
This time he favours the member stand side. Well, Turley behind almost took what would have been an amazing mark. Stretch, who started off in fine fettle. Langdon, well tackled by Obst, who's been brilliant here this afternoon. Kemp and Eishold. Fine tackle again on Lamb. Runs into a brick wall. And a stalemate, according to the umpire. 11.5 minutes left in the term. John Northey would have been happy with the start, but the Eagles clawing their way back in what so far has been a rather physical encounter.
He's moved road off Ugle. Jay Viney going back to pick him up.
Not a very high bounce. Steins, clean possession by him. Hooks the ball back up towards centre wing. That's a good mark taken by Malesso. Malesso just short of the right centre wing. Spalding stands the mark. Long kick to the edge of the square. Steins again, couple of hands to it. Can't drag it in. And again, the umpire indicating a stalemate. The bounce to take place just off the edge of the square. Malaxos the last to get up. Tremendous game. It promised a lot, and indeed has delivered same by Brian Sheehan to effect the bounce. Langdon over the top. Good as a kick. Down towards the 50-metre line. Hughes in front. Tackled by Obst. Eishold gets crashed into by Langdon. Down goes Javine, holding the ball.
There's been some good tackling today, some good close quarter stuff. The umpires are paying the free kicks.
Troy Hughes too far out to score. Centres the ball. Marnie in front. Oh, great mark by Waterman.
He's a deceptive player, Peter. He can take a fine mark overhead, and that's not in hindsight, but he has been, in his career so far, a very skilled player. And overhead he is very strong. And here, coming from the side, almost Royce Hartish, a very strong mark because Marnie is a tall player.
I thought Marnie had his name on it, Ross.
So did he, I think.
Chris Waterman, last-minute inclusion in the side. Waterman to kick from 35. Looks good. Goal.
Marnie is off the ground. Febey is on. The Eagles have kicked the last 4 goals in this game. Steins got the first away. Malesso doing better now at centre-half back. Lamb's got the run of it forward of centre wing. Interesting kick inside the 50. Lovett, who's been quiet. Viney picks it up, gets it to Febey. Back to Lovett. Lovett on the burst towards half forward. Wilson's the target. Knocked away by Turley. Melbourne have got the numbers 3-on-2. Obst to stretch. The free kick was paid. Now the advantage given to Melbourne. The kick to the 50. Eishold got it to Wilson. Now it's with Yeats, who could go by hand and didn't. Bennett was on. He'd need to kick this. It's bending around, but not enough. Bennett briefly admonishes that man. It should have gone over the top.
Just a good play, though, Dennis, by all Melbourne players. Right from that half-back line, they ran straight at the footy, and they gave the ball out the first option and quickly.
Matthew Marnie walking off the ground. Miles kicking in, favouring the members' side. Steins fisted out of bounds. So a brief lull. Just under 8.5 minutes remaining till half-time. An outstanding game, this one. Melbourne firing out quickly. And the Eagles now reining them in. Steins, Kemp, great tackle. Wilson, that should have been holding the ball. Obst takes it over the boundary line. They had the punching hand, and the ball just fell to the ground. It's had it a long time.
It is a good tackle, that, Dennis, isn't it? When your one hand is pinned, your only option then is to either drop the ball onto your boot or drop it completely.
I feel a bit silly. 6-8 to 5-3. Throw in. About 70 metres out from Melbourne's attacking goal. Steins and Scott. One down by the ladder. Kemp. Clever hand pass. Hart. Not a good kick. Wobbles one down towards half forward. Hughes. Irving. Good evasion by the big man. Sumich again in front of Hughes. Couldn't hang on that time. Langdon roving the pack in trouble. Skirts around on his left foot. Bacon goal square. He misses by a big margin. Bounces through for a behind. The Eagles are 5-4. Melbourne is 6-8.
Good control there by the big fellow Dean Irving. He's showing a lot of class at the moment.
7.5 minutes left in the quarter. Jay Viney marking in front of Hughes inside his own defensive 50 line. And right on the boundary line. Steins. He might have got a free for in the back there. Got a little nudge. The umpire says no. He gets out a hand pass. Comes back. Febey. Last minute inclusion in Melbourne side. Turley punches, but not too clear. Obst, who had a fine first quarter, and showing them a clean pair of heels. That's pace. Spalding, inward open goal. Full points. So a South Australian to a West Australian, resulting in a goal, but it goes in the book to Melbourne. Earl Spalding's first, 7-8 to 5-4. 6.5 minutes left before half-time. Clouds coming over again. I hope we're not going to get another shower.
Gary Lyon now, Peter, picking up Dean Irving. That will take some of the potency away from the Melbourne forward line.
Although Lyon hasn't been starring today.
No, but he takes a good play off, which was McKenna.
Yes, true. Febey. Eishold. Jackson. McKenna in pursuit. That's going pretty close.
Oh, gee, did he touch that, Miles? I don't know that he did. It's a goal. Well, he was off balance. Tried to get a fingernail to it. 8-8 to 5-4.
That's interesting when a player tries to do that as Miles does. He's more inclined, Jeff Miles, to try and punch in any given situation when, in fact, at times he is able to mark. We see that occasion here. Miles trying to punch through. In fact, he could have put both hands up and marked that football. Easy to say from here, but nevertheless, the mistake was made. Jackson capitalising.
Very important time in the context of this game now. The run down to half-time inside the last 6 minutes of the first half. Two very important goals there as far as Melbourne were concerned. Turley out of the middle towards half-forward. Grinter hanging on from behind. Got a fist in there on Henny. Down goes Waterman. Carried forward, says the umpire. Waterman to take the free. I'd venture to say a shade too far out to score. Centres to Hart. Will kick from just outside the 50. Now, he's a good kick of the football, but the footing will be a problem here. It looks pretty slippery down in that area.
Yes, it's the easiest you'll see at Subiaco Oval.
Febey and Kemp. Yep. I don't think he'd get hurt there. Hart, long kick. Down towards full forward. Steins is in front. Good mark.
He's the company's player, Dennis, isn't he? He's got every skill for a player who's adapted so quickly. A great admiration for him.
Febey on the defensive 50. Melbourne 8-8. The Eagles are 5-4. Febey towards centre wing. Malesso about 10 metres in front of Spalding that time.
Spalding suggesting the kick should have been better, but he was behind.
Malesso just inside the 50. All Melbourne there. Lyon left it behind. Kemp in trouble. Got a ball up.
There's a couple of solid tackles there, particularly from Lyon. Deceptively aggressive is Gary Lyon.
Fine play. Bounce. Right on the 50-metre line. Steins straight down to Langdon. Screws it down towards the pocket. All Melbourne. Ritter gets back. Jay Viney. Well, there was a test for him. He passed. The kick not particularly good. Still in trouble, Melbourne. Yates couldn't control it. Ugle. Valiant attempted tackle by Yates. Lamb's got it now. The hand pass comes across. Taken by Mainwaring. And Mainwaring has missed.
He was always under pressure. That's what Melbourne have applied right from the first siren. 5-5 now to 8-8. Again, 21 points the difference. Two quick goals late in this quarter to Melbourne. Danny Hughes again kicks to the sheltered grandstand side. Marking contest, none paid. Waterman tries to shovel it out to Turley. That was well smothered by Febey, and that's out of bounds.
Got to say, Peter, with Chris Mainwaring, for a player who's rated so highly, his kicking really does let him down.
Boundary throw in at right half forward for the West Coast Eagles. Road minding Langdon at the moment. That change effected only recently. Good tackle by Earl Spalding. Malesso, the last to get up.
He's doing well there, Peter. He's in front of Spalding. He's matching him with the pace. Other than the goal that Spalding kicked previously, he's doing well, Malesso.
It's on centre wing. Picked up by Henny. Up and under kick. And anybody can take a mark there is doing well. Let's love it. Around Lewis. Wobbles the kick towards centre wing. Mark or free kick to Scott, I would have thought. He's paid the mark, actually, to Phil Scott. So Hart can't break away. The Melbourne player is hurt. That's Spalding. Let's take a look at what happened there. Oh. Well, he's in a bit of bother. Behind play, Road has taken the mark. Peter Road just up from the left back pocket, former Carlton player. Crowd giving him plenty of advice. And as the clock ticks down to half time, big pack of players, Obst. Well, he didn't come down with it. The umpire said it's your mark. To half forward, Febey, Malaxos, shepherded by Lamb. Henny in front, can't take the grab. Road again, paddles to the boundary line. Langdon takes it over, and we'll see a boundary throw in. Scoring difficult at the moment as we come under 2 minutes before half-time.
8-8 to 5-5. Boundary throw in. The attacking side of centre wing for the Eagles, who could do with a late goal. Steins
held to him, says the umpire.
And again, he was in best position, was Dennis Rich, facing both players.
So here's the bounce. Particularly high one. Obst has played very well, got it down to Eishold. Nice little dummy, kicks towards half forward. Courageous mark and a clever one too by Wilson, going back with the flight of the ball, plays on immediately. Bennett on the lead, awkward half volley, couldn't control it. It skips away, that'll be taken by Yeats. Hurried kick, it wobbles down towards the kickoff line. Stretch was up, couldn't hang on. This is Malesso in the grasp. It sits obligingly for Miles in the goal square. Gets it to Lamb. Lamb at half back. Runners inside. One of whom's got it now. That's Brennan. Kicks through centre wing towards half forward. Ugle with the ride. Knocked away though by Jay Viney. With courage, Grinter. Socket off the ground by Jay Viney out towards the boundary line. And it skips across and will be thrown in.
Interesting that flight too, with Brennan kicking the ball down towards Irving. Ugle flew. Viney stayed down and was able to clean up.
56 plays 35. Down to 30 seconds remaining in this first half.
Throw it on centre wing. Lamb. Scott. High kick. Is there time for a score? Heady was the flyer. Grinter. Well tackled by Lewis. Love it. Hand pass into the open spaces and picked up well by Yeats, who runs across his own half back line. 13 seconds left. Clock ticking down. 11. Yeats still going. Making too much meterage. And thumped away by Tony Campbell from Miles, or it may have been the other way around, for a boundary throw-in. So that indeed will be the first half. There's the siren as we check the scoreboard. 9-8 or 8-8-56 to 5-5-35 at the change. Well, I suppose Melbourne owe their lead to, I guess, a brilliant first 10 minutes, Ross.
Yes, it was, and they've just increased their quarter-time lead by a point to lead by 21 at the half-time break. The Eagles came back quite well in that quarter. They had to. They had a very ordinary first quarter. But Melbourne's still manning up, and just every time the Eagles score, they're able to come back, Melbourne, and just set themselves up.
21 points the difference there at the change. A top game of football. Darren Bennett has 5 goals and Peter Sumich 2. We'll take a break and we'll be back at Subiaco after this. 21 points the difference at the main change. Darren Bennett has 5 goals for Melbourne. He got 4 of those in a fine first quarter, and Peter Sumich has 2 for the West Coast Eagles.
Today's match is part of the CUB.
It's half-time and Melbourne lead by 21 points, and Ross Glendinning coming in. I guess we always suspected it was going to be very much a game of attitude, and so far Melbourne have shown the way in that regard.
Yeah, they have, Dennis, particularly the way they started. The Eagles came back well in that second quarter, but with the break that Melbourne had at quarter time, as we see some of the highlights here, Sumich has had the better of Hughes, and at the other end of the ground, Bennett particularly has had the better of Brennan, although Brennan in that second quarter, Dennis, I thought did a little better. Mind you, midfield, the Eagles picked up a little, but surprising to see Malaxis kept permanently in the back pocket.
Yes, I was going to raise that with you. Yes. Tagging out of the back pocket. He started on Healy. Yes. Healy came off the ground, and still he's tagging out of that back pocket on Tingay now.
It seems a waste of a player who is the Eagles' best at getting the football out of the centre, which is where they were falling down, because Melbourne were very, very industrious there. They worked very, very hard and were just manning up and did well. That player, Obst, celebrating his birthday and having a fine game, and showed Malaxis the way. Got that ball to Spalding, who's, I thought, being well held by Malesso. Yes. But Spalding just getting away.
That was a clever goal. Andrew Obst quite outstanding. A few of the players from outside of Victoria have been key players so far. Bennett at full forward, Stretch on a wing, and Obst we've mentioned. Jeff Miles just failing to touch that one across the line. So checking the stats, as you'd expect, despite the scoreline, I guess 21 points the difference, it has been even. Just a couple of bursts by Melbourne more than anything else so far in this game. The difference.
And a couple of critical goals in that last part of the second quarter, and it's just got them back in that lead, which they now have of 21 points.
So the stage is set. Half-time at Subiaco Oval. It's 8-8 to 5-5. The stakes are high, as we've mentioned. It's the battle for the double chance. We'll be back with all of the second half action right after this break.
The SANFL, and Norwood off to a good start, leading at quarter time, 5-3-33 to West Torrens 2-2-14. Both teams back onto the ground for the resumption of play in the third quarter. Let's see what the coaches had to say at half-time. Here's Neil Pope.
Peter, Mick Maldas was furious at half-time, as you'd expect. He was appalled at that loss of concentration in the last 10 minutes of that quarter when he said they had Melbourne on the deck. and let them get back to that handy 21-point lead. He chastised a number of players for contesting when they shouldn't be contesting. Brett Heady, for one, he should be on the ground. He said that there has to be more constructive movement forward to allow Peter Sumich to kick goals and counteract Bennett's performance. I couldn't get anywhere near the Melbourne change rooms. I did speak to John Sells on the way out, and he said with a smile that John Northey had merely said, keep it going.
OK, thanks, Neil. And some of the individual player statistics to half-time. Simon Eishold with 9 and 5 has been a busy player, especially in the third quarter when he had 7 possessions. Next one.
Yes, and for Chris Lewis, the Eagles, he's been hard-working. He played the man early, but then got his eyes on the ball, and after that first quarter, big first quarter for him with 9 touches, he's doing quite nicely.
Andrew Obst, recruited from Port Adelaide, 8 and 3 to half-time, and he really has been a linchpin in the Melbourne machine so far. His tackling too has been really excellent, with one effective one in each quarter. Brett Heady. You heard Neil Poe say that Malthouse wasn't happy with him flying for the ball, but he's still been a good player. And Darren Bennett has kicked 5 goals. Third quarter now from Subiaco. Vital for Melbourne to maintain their advantage. They lead by 21 points after they led by 20 at the first change. No one getting it out of the centre.
Begovic on the ground for the West Coast Eagles, Peter, picking up Wilson.
We'll go through it all again. All in for this one. Steins and Scott. Kemp, high kick to the edge of the square, and a great mark taken by Gary Lyon. Sun tries to peep through the clouds. Pinpoint accuracy with the kick. He's found Febey marking in front of Scott. Started on the bench, late inclusion in the side today. Bennett leads out, can't take the mark, and there's Begovic. His first touch for the day. One kick. Out it goes to Brett Heady, right on the flank. Hugs the boundary line with the kick, and Grinter chipping in to take the mark. Lovely sidestep. The kick really wasn't as good as it could have been. Spalding, Wilson, danger for the Eagles here if he can gather. Gets the hand pass. It was intended for Eishold. Lewis late on the scene. Obst in front of him. Mainwaring gets cutted into by Turley, his own man, and that leaves it clear for Spalding. Lobs it high. Campbell.
Good work there by Tony Campbell. He's been well held by Jeff Miles, with Bennett taking most of the work in that full forward line. Campbell has run around a bit, but run to the wrong position. On this occasion, got in front and very strongly, which he can do on occasions. Inclined to be a little bit hot and cold is Tony Campbell, but on that occasion had the better of Miles.
Well, he has played full forward for Melbourne. No trouble with the distance. And it looks all clear. It's a goal.
And that's Tony Campbell's 21st for the season, who's been quite an effective forward, contributing those 21 goals to complement Bennett and the likes of Jackson. He needs to do more of it. He's a player who can be used well up and down the ground here, as you see Turley cannon right into Mainwaring, and then Spalding just getting around Turley in time to get his kick forward. And with Bennett coming down the ground, it was left to Campbell to substitute at full forward, and he did it well.
Tony Campbell, his first goal. 27 points the difference. Melbourne have got the first goal in every term. Malaxis out of the middle towards half forward. Strong mark is taken there by Lyon. That's a couple of them now. Pretty aggressive move. Gary Lyon from half back. Spirals one towards centre wing. A lot of carry on that kick. They misjudged it. Now Yeats an opportunity behind, running it down towards half forward. Not a good kick. McKenna got a hand to it, as did Bennett. Tingay on the attacking 50. Stephen Tingay across his body down towards full forward. Wilson favoured by the kick, and he was clever.
He was, wasn't he? He was from behind, with Begovic doing the right thing as a backman in front of Wilson, trying to back into him, push him out of contest. But Wilson just a little bit of a nudge with his left hand, just keeping Begovic far enough in front. Had the set, Malesso couldn't get there in time, and a good result to the Brownlow medalist.
Wilson from 20 metres out has missed. Oh, gee.
That's his second behind.
9-9 to 5-5.
You mentioned Dennis at half-time, and we did that. Malaxis being, we thought, not utilised correctly to back pocket now in the centre, with Lamb taking up Tingay.
Brennan straight down the middle. Melbourne have got the numbers. It matters not. Malesso worth a kick back towards midfield with a fist. Grinter in the road, though, to Steins. Yeats the target. McKenna an opportunity. claimed by Eishold. Was he carried forward? Yes, he was. He was a bit lucky. He was stumbling forward as Eishold laid the tackle. Certainly a kick, though, and McKenna having to work hard to take it.
This is the third bit of drama we've seen today. And they've all gone to the same school.
McKenna from left half back through centre wing. Steins knocks it away from Langdon. Mainwaring nicely. Hart on centre wing. Kicks for space at centre half forward. Sumich coming up the ground. Unkind bounce. Jay Viney gets back. He's been serviceable, but off the ball.
Free kick.
Free kick to Sumich.
Yes, Hughes carried on, brought him to ground unnecessarily. He's inclined to do that on occasions, is Danny Hughes. Undisciplined for a player of his senior stature.
Some steam up, Danny Hughes. Now Sumich has gone back a long way. He's inside the centre square to start this run and will kick from just outside the 50. The Eagles need a goal. Peter Sumich, long kick. Has it got the carry? Yes, it has, but not the direction. He misses to the right-hand side.
Under 21 minutes left in the quarter. 5-6 to 9-9. Grinder's going to kick the ball back in. Favours the outer side. Target is Jimmy Steins. At the back is Kemp. Reads it better. Gets grabbed. Did he have it? Could have been a free kick. Yes. Febey arguing with the umpire. And Kemp has got the ball. The Eagles need a couple of goals, and they need them quickly in this vital third quarter. Langdon. Need to get more out of him. Rad doing a good job. And being whistled back on the mark. Langdon will be kicking from right on 50. Only for his third kick of the day, so it hasn't been a good afternoon for Carl Langdon, so far at least. Won't get the distance with that one. Oh, too easy for Steins.
That should never happen in the forward line, have the opposition ruckman just mark uncontested like that.
Playing well today, Stein. Had a mid-season slump, but coming up to the finals is, thankfully for Melbourne's sake, running into form. Mainwaring. They need to get more out of him too. Oh, Langdon, yes, good grab.
You must have heard you, Peter, because that was a good grab. And Stephen Lax's behind playing a bit of bother. Earl Spalding going for that contest earlier on, just getting right at the back of Lax. Was it here? A good mark, particularly with Steins trying to spoil. Good solid hands from Carl Langdon.
Only 5 possessions so far. That was his third mark. From 35 metres out directly in front. They need a goal, the Eagles, and he's got one.
Just over 19 minutes remaining in this third term. Stein stumbles as he came in. Alaxos couldn't control it. Wilson did. Yeats with some space. Grinter over the top nicely. Wilson has it. Draws a man. Stretch. Runs away from right centre wing. A second bounce carries him down towards right half forward. Long kick towards full forward. It drifts away towards the pocket. Spalding forced to spoil eventually. Lamb was in front. And we've got a boundary throw in.
And a change made by John Northey of Melbourne, moving Hughes from full back up to the forward line, with Campbell taking that position now on Sumich after that undisciplined play by Hughes.
Bennett doing the ruck work. To good effect too. He got it behind the pack, but Hart was in the road. Alaxis can go again. Febey did brilliantly. Peeled off. Wins the ball after the smother. Snaps deserving of a goal. Brennan goes back and fists it through for a behind.
But Stephen Febey, one of 2 players celebrating their birthday today. Febey, in fact, his 21st, along with Andrew Obst, as I mentioned before, his 26th birthday today.
Another reading from the birthday book.
Thank you very much.
9-10 to 6-6. Brennan, members side, and the mark is held yes. After a juggle by Malessa. Vaudeville as he kicks from half back towards centre wing. Road got the fist. Malaxis in front. Mainwaring in trouble. Begovic has it now. High kick through centre towards half forward. Lovett in front of Lewis. Lewis the fist. Febey in front to Lyon. Weight of numbers telling the story. Lyon pulls it back for Tingay. Clever kick.
Really was, because he had no one else further up the ground on the flank. Had to centre it.
Melbourne have the runners. Tingay has the ball. Kicks wide to left half forward. Spalding the target. Hit Eishold on the chest. Obst. And plenty of options there. Back to
Yeats.
It was Yeats. Up towards the full forward position. That's a mark. Danny Hughes has come down with it. So that move of John Northey might pay dividends straight away.
Yes, Yes, he read that well, Hughes. Kept his ground hard, couldn't get there in time, and Miles too far in front.
The last thing the Eagles want here is a goal to Melbourne. Surely he couldn't miss Danny Hughes. Melbourne's 10th, 10-10 to 6-6 at Subiaco. Steins out of the centre. Scott's tackle, ineffective. Bounces to half forward 3 times, 4 times. Hart streaming downfield. Maybe that will set an example to the Eagles because they need something here pretty quickly. Knock on by Heady. It missed Waterman. Here, Steins again. Tingay. He's done very well since he came on. And umpire Brian Sheen is going to bounce it. Still inside the centre square. 16.5 minutes left in this quarter. 6-6 to 10-10. 42 plays 70 at Subiaco, and the Eagles going for their 16th straight win at home. It doesn't look like it at the moment. Scott nudges his opponent out. Lamb got a boot to it. Eishold over the head of McKenna. Yeats this time from right centre wing. Goes out wide with the ball. The target is stretched. Just got a hand to it. Begovic, who came on at half-time. And that might be against Stephen Stretch for in the back. The crowd certainly thinking it could have been an Eagles free kick. Begovic is the last to get up, but it will be a bounce just inside the boundary line.
Spalding opposed to Scott. Scott wins it, and it goes straight out of bounds. Laurie Keane.
Almost a forgotten man over here, Dennis.
Yeah, certainly, since Dean Irving has really carved a niche for himself in this side. Interesting matchup on the Melbourne forward line too. Troy Ugle is on the ground marking Danny Hughes. A battle on centre wing. Tingay hooks it high down towards half forward. Spalding's in front, knocked away by Malesso. Wilson didn't control it all that well. Battled on though. Mainwaring appeared to have the run of it, then left it behind. Stretch upended. Wilson back into the fray to Tingay. Untidy kick. Febey bearing down on Kemp, who did it superbly. Got the ball on the ground to his own advantage. Sweeping hand pass. McKenna, a little indecisive, was tackled high by Obst. There was no free kick. Great pressure again from Melbourne. Down goes Yeats. Held without it, says the umpire. The offender was Langdon. And Yeats plays on quickly to Wilson. Febey running into open space. Out towards left centre wing. That breeze freshening to the left-hand side of screen. In from the side, Spalding didn't touch the ball. A lot of Eagles up that time. Brennan's over the ball. Can't do much with it. And we've got a whistle about 30 metres out from Melbourne's attacking goal.
As you call it, Dennis, there were a lot of Eagles up, including Troy Ugle, who was about 5th in line for that ball, leaving Hughes on the ground.
Melbourne leads 70 to 42. Will a string of victories at home come to an end for the Eagles? Battle across half-back. Malaxis tried to get it out, didn't succeed. Eishold had the run of it. He went to ground and another ball up.
Inside 50, 14 minutes left in this quarter as the sun peeps through again. Ground still pretty heavy though. Or holding might be the term. Bennett, stretch, Yeats, 35 metres out, steadies and slams. So Melbourne going to get another win over the Eagles over in the west. Eishold out to stretch. Other coaches will be asking John Northey, how does he do it? Ugle punches clear. Jackson, always elusive, close to goal. Tingay, snapshot, and he's threaded that one as well. Great play from Melbourne. Tingay putting through his first, and Melbourne's 12th. They're silent here now, 12-10 to 6-6.
Well, Tingay's got a run on this ground with his captain Healy going off with concussion, which is, as I mentioned before, a bit stiff for Greg Healy. He's been the recipient of quite a few knocks to the head over the last few years. And is concussed fairly easily. Let's hope he's okay. But Tingay finishing off some very good work again.
Terrific stuff from the Demons. Just dominating the centre square at the present time. 12-10 to 6-6. Steins. Scott came over the top. Hart over the ball. Waterman gets it out to Malaxos. Over the top. Away goes Lewis, kicking down towards the forward pocket. Sumich gathered the ball superbly, pulls it back across his body, but misses to the left-hand side. Sumich controlled it well, did the hard work. The finish wasn't there. 6-7 to 12-10. Just under 13 minutes remaining till three-quarter time. And Melbourne now in the driver's seat. Kick members side Mainwaring. Big crap from behind. smallest man in that contest. He's marked at left half forward. Scott is coming off the ground. Miles is coming back on. And Waring's kick indirect towards the opposite pocket. Langdon goes back, confronted by Febey. He's been handy since coming onto the ground too. Febey hand passes at about 25 metres, but it was out of bounds. Phil Scott. So a throw in just inside the attacking 50 for the Eagles. Steins and Irving. Steins in front. Over the top comes Wilson, to no good effect. Grinter kept the ball in front, lost it eventually. Langdon cleverly intended for Heady, just wide of the mark, out of bounds, and we've got a throw in.
12 minutes left in the quarter. It's been another good one for Melbourne. 43-82. Steins and Irving. McKenna over the top this time. Past his opposite number 17 in Lovett. It's out of bounds in front of Ricky Jackson. And another throw in. So the Eagles in that manoeuvre have possibly gained some 15 metres and need about 3 quick goals before three-quarter time, I would suggest, to have a show. Irving and Steins. One by Steins. Lewis. Still Lewis. Got the hand pass out. Langdon couldn't take it. But Waterman can. Snaps. Just over 11 minutes left in this quarter. Spalding looking for a free kick, and I'd suggest he'd get one. Inside the square, Earl Spalding. Long. Hughes in front, couldn't mark. Wilson, snapshot. And a great diving mark has been taken by Steve Malaxos, and he relays it to Main Waring.
Over the top to Hughes. They can run it out. Hughes in short. Lewis set up that last goal. Overcommitted was Lovett. Lewis breaks away as a result, kicking towards half forward. Grinter mounting an attempt to stop it. Campbell. Oh, great clearing dash from Campbell. Outnumbered. Sends it high towards centre wing. Obst and Turley knocked away by Begovic. Melbourne have got the numbers. Lovett picks it up. Shepherded by Steins. Clever kick. Wilson. There was a runner outside. He used him as a decoy and goes short and finds Bennett.
Yes, the Eagles caught out badly there with Turley and Co down the ground. McKenna and with Wilson there along with Tingay. Lamb had the option of one or the other, went Tingay, and Wilson was able to get around.
Darren Bennett. 5 goals so far. Distance won't be a problem. He kicks from 45. Magnificent kick. Right through. Quick reply from the Demons then. Their 13th is on the board. 13-10 to 7-7.
And whilst you can argue that the full forwards are always relying on the play up the ground, you've still got to finish off, and he's done that very well today as Bennett. And again, the kick coming through as Lovett pushed out to Wilson, who was able to receive Lamb very quickly. But then what Bennett has done today is led very well, and he's outmarked Brennan on a number of occasions. He's had the better of that duel.
Under 10 minutes left in the quarter. 39 points the difference at Subiaco. Irving and Steins, won by the Melbourne player. Malaxos, high kick past the edge of the square. Lovett in front. That was almost a mark brought down to Melbourne. Lewis off the ground, not successful. Hand pass from Jay Viney. Out to Febey, who's done well since he came on, and so has Tingay. Good players to have on the reserves bench, certainly. Eishold from left centre wing. Steadying kick and gets distance, but he might have taken it too wide. He has for Spalding. And Melissa will take the free kick. 39 points in Melbourne's favour. They won here last year by 2 points. Will they make it 2 wins here in succession? Wilson, Lovett. McKenna, good spoil. Punch away, Tingay. What a game he's playing now. Eishold runs into Begovic, loose ball. It's there to be won. Begovic again. Good hand pass. Turley on the end of it. Inside the square. Straight down the ground. That's what the Eagles want now. Up to half forward. And a fine mark to Brett Heady in front of Grinter. And has a few words to him as well. One of the recruits of the year, Brett Heady. Too far out to score. Centering kick. Malaxos ducks back. Couldn't take it. Campbell with Kemp. Subic. Malaxos. Kemp again. Runs into an open goal. Hand pass. Waterman's third.
88 plays 55, just over 8 minutes remaining till three-quarter time. Irving favoured by the bounce, gets it down to Lamb, and kicks towards half-forward. Langdon in front, off hands Waterman, who's been lively, to Lewis. In heavy traffic, Lewis. He was tripped according to the umpire, and he'll take the free. Chris Lewis. Can he spark the Eagles? Nothing down forward. There's a whistle, and it's going to be an Eagles free down the ground. Holding against Campbell. So Sumich directly in front, only 25 metres out.
When Lewis got that free kick out, Malaxis wide. On the first instance, he didn't kick then he had a heady free in the square. Didn't see him either. So lucky to get away with it, the Eagles.
Thought Campbell looked prone to hold. Here's Sumich. He's pulled it. He's missed. And missed that one.
2-4 and one out of bounds in the full for Peter Sumich.
8-8 to 13-10. Ron Grinter has been bustling in defence today. Good kick in. Lovett in the back pocket. High kick towards centre wing. Spalding, Malesso behind him. This is Wilson trying to charge his way through and did brilliantly. Spalding in trouble, moves it on quickly. Eishold likewise rides a bump. Wayne Waring should have tackled him. It comes down towards Bennett, off hands. Ugle couldn't control it. Stretch gets through. Goal coming up to Melbourne. Stretch stabs at Goalwood and brings up full points.
How quickly things can turn around.
14-10 to 8-8.
There's no doubt there Chris Wayne Waring should hang his head. As the player, Eishold, had the football, Wayne Waring ran straight at him. Rather than try and tackle, he bumped him. Eishold rode the bump very easily, and the resultant goal to Melbourne, a crucial one.
Yes, especially after Sumich missed one at the other end, Ross.
Yes, it just gives them that break again, which makes it difficult for the Eagles to get right back in the game. Still, there is time.
94 plays 56, under 7 minutes left in the third quarter. The Demons answering every challenge. Obst, Wayne Waring, short kick out of the centre. Malaxos again short, up the half forward. Heady on, missed what he certainly should have taken. Grinter does well, and that's a fine mark. Could be 50. Febey and gets up looking a little proppy. Now he's got to play on and doesn't kick too well. The mark is taken by Turley. 20-metre hand pass. On the end of it is Brett Heady. Kicks to right half forward flank. Good punch away by Lyon. Down it comes to Lovett. Attempted smother by Lewis, not successful. Real up and under kick that one. Eishold punches. Grinter goes through. Jackson roves well. Not much of him. Almost out of bounds. And in fact it is out of bounds, but not on the full. Throw-in will take place centre wing, right beneath the scoreboard here at Subiaco. 5 3/4 minutes left in the third term. Difference was 21 points in the visitors' favour at half-time. They've done well in this third quarter. Obst again played a great game. So has Steins. He should pick this up inside the boundary line. Should, but didn't. It's out of bounds now. I might have been down, Jim. He's done well in the ruck, running into some form towards the business end of the season. After a mid-season slump, Irving does battle with him. Irving wins. Hart, well tackled by Steins. Irving, standing start kick over the head of Yeats. Lovett's there and does well. Eishold moves it quickly and directly down to goal. Danny Hughes showed the best judgment and is going to come out with a free kick, I think. It's against Troy Ugle. And Danny Hughes has the opportunity to kick his second goal after being moved away from the key defence post. And there it is in the back.
And again, Troy Ugle, who when he has been used this season has mainly been fought, particularly when he's come off the bench in the last few games. A big ask to go into the back pocket and a player the size of Hughes.
Hughes, the full-back, kicking at his second goal of the quarter.
And just over 4.5 minutes remaining till three-quarter time. Steins opposed to Irving. Irving wins it down. Lewis. Again, the tackling of Melbourne ferocious inside the centre square. Eventually it came to Langdon, though. Eishold and Lewis do a bit off the ball. Eishold was the man who dragged Lewis down. Hart had it go through his legs. Obst. It was Langdon who went scooting past. Melbourne in complete control at the present time. Into the path of Yeats, the Obst kick. He pulls it back. It's a very high kick. Lamb is there over the top. Turley fisting it back towards the wing. Collision course coming up. Mainwaring did well. Took it away from Steins. Goes looking for Malaxis. Febey, who's done very well in some tight situations, again showing good judgment. Stopped it initially, then socked it off the ground to his own advantage and beat two of them. Febey on the outer side, still he's going. Back came Kemp, though. Febey, look at him. Malaxis goes in there. Febey, fitting, I think, that he should have the ball at the end of all of that.
Fantastic.
Stephen Febey, who started on the bench, obviously wants to get back in this Melbourne side. Obst, clean possession, nicely done. Eishold, left half forward, a centering kick. Bennett couldn't hang on. Lamb goes back, runs it up towards half back. Mainwaring in the true centre half back position, kicks through centre, long towards half forward. Melbourne, it's all Melbourne down there. Waiting behind, it's taken away by the defence once more. This time Road boots it out of bounds on the bounce.
3 minutes left in the third quarter. Melbourne bench looking on. Langdon with Steins. Ineffective from both players and out of bounds. If Melbourne wins today, it'll be level with the Eagles and Hawthorn on 50, and Collingwood on 56 points. The way they're going, you'd suggest they'd hang on. Yates's kick is high. Begovic and stretch. Begovic again tries to slap the ball out and gets a free kick for in the back.
I have to say too, Peter, this is shaping as a very good result for Hawthorn.
In that regard, although the Hawthorn side will slip down one spot. Hawks doing well yesterday against Collingwood. Steins had a great game, hasn't he? Yeats, so is he. Right on the boundary line. Graeme Yeats, high kick. Malesso stretch, and Malesso has come down with the ball. A bit of tension from Brian Wilson, who gets pushed away by Begovic. Centering kick, Mainwaring, who's done better this quarter, has to play on. Gets around stretch and Obst. Waterman sets up another goal, surely. Steve Malaxos runs in and boots it. Waterman's kicked three, but he set that one up for Steve Malaxos. The Eagles ninth, 9-8, plays 15-10 with a minute and a half left in the term.
And well done there to Peter Malesso. He's held centre half back down very well. He's had a difficult player in Spalding to cope with. He's done it well on his mark and then kicked to Mainwaring in the centre, who had Kemp on his right-hand side, decided to play on. And the ball finishing with the skipper, Steve Malaxos.
Hard to make a case for the Eagles from here. That breeze blowing down the ground to the left. Melbourne will finish with it. It's Michael Malthouse and Robert Wiley down on the boundary.
And this smiles there.
No, this puts the season right back in the melting pot, of course. 15-10 to 9-8. Steins and Irving. Steins did well there, camped under the ball, he controlled it. Spalding knocks it on. Begovic. Malaxos clearly the best for the Eagles, boots it out wide. Jay Viney tracking it back, confronted by Miles. Lyon. Socket off the ground by Grinter. Mainwaring put his body in cleverly and escorts the ball across the boundary line. Melbourne 15-10, the Eagles are 9-8. Melbourne off to a fast start, have led at every change today by 20 points at quarter time, by 21 at half time. Tingay came over the top that time. Steins kicked Lamb.
There's no doubt he was going for the ball. It's just one of those situations where you commit yourself to kick the ball off the ground. Another player dives through. It was obviously dangerous. The umpire did the right thing. Steins here. Lamb was sort of half-hearted in some respects, which probably gave Steins the intention that he was not going to go for that ball full-heartedly, and so it was on free kick now to Lamb. I don't know why they're remonstrating. It's all happened. They should get on with the footy.
Lamb's got the ball, not looking too well. In fairness to Steins, the ball had bounced up. It wasn't on the ground. Lamb doesn't look too good. I don't think he'll stay out there as the kick goes down towards the attacking 50 for the Eagles. Jay Varney in trouble. Waterman, the liveliest forward, gets the hand pass through the legs. Miles slipped over. Narkle across to Lewis. Open goal. They've got a few of those in this quarter.
That's just what they needed. Lewis goes on with it.
The 10th on the board for the Eagles. They're 10-8. Melbourne are 15-10. And the clock frozen at 20 seconds.
And I'll tell you what, Guy McKenna's in a spot above the 2, and it's still going there with Lewis and Narkle. But Guy McKenna's either got one in the groin or a top of the thigh something, but he's not too well. Let's hope he's all right. They'll need him.
And Lamb has gone off. Well, the crowd's come to life anyway. They had little to cheer about mid-term. Got 2 quick goals to the Eagles. As Lamb trots towards the bunker. 20 seconds remaining in this quarter. Now the Eagles hanging on by a slender thread. 32 points the difference, close to three-quarter time. Steins goes down, no love lost there. The advantage well taken by Tingay. Steins gets himself up. Maybe this is just what the Eagles need. Wilson and Mainwaring. Wilson does better. He can kick a goal here. Runs into trouble. Fine tackle. Bennett for number 6 off target. And one behind. There's the siren for three-quarter time. They'll come out snarling at the start of the final turn. The scoreboard at Subiaco on AFL Live, 15-11, 101 to 10-8, 68. To lead by 32 points at the final change, and just after we went to the break, there were some ugly scenes here at Subiaco as both teams clashed during the break.
Yes, and Carl Langdon wanted to go on with a few of the Melbourne players here, and Lewis weren't happy just before the siren went. Then Jim Steins also continued on. Steve Malaxis fighting with his mouth there for a while, which incited Jim Steins to come back at him. And as it continued on, there was players, there was trainers. Eventually, John Norrie, the coach, also had a bit of an altercation with one of the Eagles trainers, who suggested that John Norrie should take his position with the team huddle. And these are sorts of things, Peter and Dennis, that could just get into anything, get right out of hand and have nearly every player and official involved. You already see here Northey suggesting to the Eagles trainer that he should move away, Earl Spalding, or is that Yeats, I should say.
He'll get a game next week, Yeats.
So calm has been restored here at three-quarter time. And let's check the score over in the SANFL today. Norwood doing it well from West Torrens, leading 8-5 to 3-12. That's the main change over there. Three-quarter time here, 32-point break in favour of Melbourne. They won here last year by 2 points. Can they go on with it, Ross? Well, you think so?
Well, they've got a fair haul in front of them. 33 points is a fair margin, particularly the way Melbourne are playing, Peter. They were able to sort of come back each time the Eagles looked dangerous. And you can rest assured that Melbourne will come out of that huddle bustle just before three-quarter time a lot better. And statistically, you should expect there Melbourne having the better with the number of kicks. Hit-outs favouring Steins as well. He's done very well. Scott off the ground now. Irving has the task in front of him. The free kicks favouring the Eagles, but in fact, Melbourne looked at the far better side. And sorry, Peter, Dwayne Lamb is in trouble. He's got ice on his left wrist after that incident where Jim Steins liked to kick the ball that was in mid-air. And he looks as though he will not take any further part in the game. And Scott comes to the boundary line as well.
All right, well, let's go down to Neil Poe to hear what the coaches had to say at three-quarter time. Neil?
Yes, thanks, Peter. Mick Malthouse asked his players for the supreme effort this quarter. He said he's not prepared to accept defeat at this stage. The stakes are too high. They must win this game to stay or be guaranteed of that second shot at the finals. John, no report on Dwayne Lamb. He's going to get x-rays at some stage, but they're keeping him here at the moment just in case they need him. Got a bad knock on the arm. John Northey told his side that they had outplayed and shamed the Eagles on their home crowd. Wanted them not to relax at all this quarter and to bury them.
Right, thanks, Neil. Capacity crowd here at Subiaco. And they've been a little bit quiet in the third quarter. 32 points the difference now, but they did get 2 quick goals towards the end of the third term. Can they go on with it? The final quarter. 32 points the difference in favour of Melbourne. It's been a fiery game. Eishold out of the centre for Melbourne. They've won the ball a lot out of the centre today. Hughes with Hughes. Begovic looks for the hand pass. A wall of Melbourne players is there. And we'll see a bounce right on 50. Ball obviously a little bit greasy still. Announced by umpire Brian Sheehan. Danny Hughes does well, and he did well in the third quarter with 2 goals after being moved away from full back on Peter Sumic for undisciplined play. McKenna's still out there, I notice. He's looking a little proppy towards 3/4 time. The ball over the boundary line.
Another fight. Eishold and Newgill. That's broken up.
Went to the boxing at Subiaco and a football match broke out. Boundary throw in. Irving, Newgill, Malaxos, high kick, Stein's in front. He's not the most popular man here. Yeats, stretch in front of Lewis. Usually does something constructive with the ball. Long kick this time. Huge pack of players down there. Wilson gets bumped off it by Brennan. Put through by Obst for a goal. And that's just what Melbourne needed to start the final quarter. The Demons answer in the perfect way. 16-11 to 10-8.
And again, a mistake there made by the Eagles. I'm pretty sure it was Michael Brennan who elected as the ball came through from Yeats to the pack. And we see here that Wilson is the player that gets the ball. Brennan ran at him with a hip and shoulder. Should have been a tackle. He would have got a free kick anyway, I thought. High tackle coming from Malesso. But a dangerous one there. Exactly what, as Peter said, the Eagles didn't want.
Goal umpire had his back turned. 16-11 to 10-8. Melbourne out of the centre yet again. They've been superb in the centre square. Wilson kicked it towards half forward. It was knocked on by Spalding. Turley outnumbered 3-1 now. Obst again threads the hand pass to Tingay, who measures the distance, as are most of the Melbourne players. Just talking about Stephen Tingay. He's kicked 2 goals. The ruckman touched the ball. McKenna breaking away to Malaxos. Kicks inside the 50. Too much carry for Subiaco. Campbell read it best. Swings it towards the outer side. Yeats, who's been busy certainly in the second half. He takes a very clever mark opposed to Mainwaring. Graeme Yeats. A very talented footballer. Midway between the lines, half back and centre. Going for distance, gives it a ride on the breeze, long towards half forward. Again, no one touched the ball. Eventually, it's knocked forward by Hughes. Hart got it to Turley, who's in trouble. Pressure really has been hard for the Eagles to cope with today. McKenna a long time to release the ball there. Irving gets it across to Malaxos.
Malaxos, a hand pass, or Solbegovic into trouble, touched off the boot. Kemp, attempted smother by Febey, not successful, and Narkle. We haven't seen much of Phil Narkle this afternoon. Narkle from left centre wing for the Eagles. Centering kicking, he's kicked it straight to Jimmy Steins. He says thanks very much. Steins in the thick of that rather large altercation in 3/4 time. Kicks to centre field, 2-on-1 in favour of Melbourne, picked up by Malaxos after Spalding missed the mark. Back to Kemp, reloads it to Irving. Straight down the middle of the ground. Campbell, good punch away, but picked up by Chris Lewis. Always dangerous. Lewis scouts well, shoots and goals. They needed that. Chris Lewis bringing up full points. His second for the day, 17-11 to 11-8.
They did that well again. Steve Malaxos featuring the play there across the centre line. And Lewis sold the dummy there to Road and finished off well. As Scott comes on the ground and Irving off. They really have missed Craig McGrath, centre-half forward today of the Eagles. He has been a real find for them this year.
Yes, Craig McGrath, formerly of Fitzroy. Good, solid player. I said they have missed him today. 21 minutes left in the game. 74 plays 113 here at Subiaco in bright sunshine now. Mainwaring, short kick to half forward. Grinter's punch away is effective for Melbourne. Obst nearly got there again. Tingay crashes through, or tried to. Turley on the bottom of a stack up. Lovett looking for a free kick. None there, says the umpire. It's high to half forward. Sumic punches. Road out to the boundary line. Febey content to let it go. Didn't have too much support. Lovett was behind him. I don't think he saw him. We'll see a boundary throw in.
Dean Kemp, who's had a very good season. Steins and Scott. Scott does well with strength, but it comes to Eishold. He's on centre wing. Eishold long towards the attacking 50 for Melbourne. Spalding going back. Courageous mark. Too far out to score. Melbourne 17-11. The Eagles 11-8. Go for distance. That's a long kick. Down towards full forward. In from the side. Bennett touched it. Darren Bennett showing disappointment. Brennan showing amazement. The goal umpire showing 2 flags.
Well, we'll never know. I guess only one person out there knows whether he touched it or not. Punched away by Javani, knocked on by Steins. Melesso from midfield. Wobbly kick up to the edge of the square. Narkle and Lovett. Grinter. Narkle comes through. Does it well. Dispossessed finally, but a good effort. Lyon. Hurried hand pass. Tingay. Smothered by Heady. Tingay butters up again. Lovett. Dragged high. Surely a free kick. Advantage rule paid. Yeats.
They bring it back.
Steins.
That pressure was fantastic, wasn't it, from Melbourne there?
It's been like that all day, hasn't it? So Lovett to take the free. Lewis will stand the mark. Lovett from the right half-back flank. Keeps the ball on the outer wing, thumped away by Scott. Spalding's kick smothered likewise. Kemp from Malaxos. Kemp from centre field. Oh, Campbell, nearly the mark of the day. Couldn't drag it down. Grinter, looping hand pass. Gary Lyon. Tigerish effort. Punches it clear. Now he said it's a throw, the umpire.
That's a good decision by umpire Dennis. Rich Lyon made the effort to go back on that ball as it came back into play from Grinter toward goal. Overran it, almost did his ankle on the way down. Then his effort to get rid of the ball, threw it up and then hit it with his right hand at the same time.
So Waterman, as we watch it in replay,
it's up it goes.
And under.
Yep.
Or up and over. Waterman for goal number 4. 45-degree angle. And has missed to the near side for one behind. And a goal is badly needed. More than one goal. 11-9 to 18-11. 18.5 minutes left in the match. Rod Grinter. Gary Lyon, almost. Febey dragged off it by Kemp. Hurried hand pass. Waterman this time. Similar spot. Similar result, I think. Touched. One behind. Goal umpire in perfect position. So a further point to the tally. 18-11 to 11-10. 76 players, 119. And again, Rod Grinter kicks in.
They were throwing garbage at the goal umpire at the other end. I didn't think it was tit for tat that time. Yeats has the ball on the outer side. 18-11 to 11-10. As Peter told you, there's the kick towards centre wing. Turley got a hand to it. Came to Spalding, though. Spalding right centre wing for the Demons. Kicking towards half forward. Hughes up. Couldn't hang on. Heady, a strong tackle by Obst. Eishold trying to force it forward. Hughes does well. Begovic runs it out from half back. The Eagles trying very hard. Begovic, penetrating kick. Lewis, Steins did well. Narkle waiting behind. Lewis into Mines. Kicks into open space. Javani, the hand pass not effective. Narkle has it. Deep in the left full forward pocket. Open goal square. He's got
Lift the Eagles. That goal by Narkle will. Hart. Can he kick one? It won't bounce through. Campbell. Crowd looking for deliberate out of bounds, and they've got it. That is ridiculous.
Well, the umpire, it almost appeared, umpire Brian Sheehan delayed his reaction. Once the crowd called for it, almost appeared as if he reacted to that crowd reaction.
Ah, goodness me.
That is a terrible decision, isn't it?
He's bananaed it. For a behind. Have to wait now. 12-11 to 18-11.
I reckon they're not under pressure.
Oh, well, you got caught at the other end. I thought he touched it too. Anyway, that's history. That's a kick, and that's a good kick from Grinter. Big pack of players in the marking contest. Scott comes down with it. It wasn't a mark. He plays on. Javani strong. And he is strong too. Good build. Steins. Well, he's just about my pick for BAG, Jimmy Steins. He's done nothing wrong today. And Yeats, likewise, we can put in that category. Gets taken out of it late by Scott. Danny Hughes, who's been watching the soccer. Heady. Well, love it. Clean bowl. Stretch, always tidy. Hurried kick this time. He usually pinpoints a teammate. Big pack of players. That could be a free kick. And it is to Kemp in the back, and Kemp will take that at centre half back.
No doubt about that. Kemp goes in short. Scott under pressure. Kicks it towards half forward. Lewis. He's tried manfully this afternoon, Chris Lewis. Who's that to? I'm not sure. Sumich, I suppose, a long way off the ball. Good use of the body by Sumich. What a path from Alexis, who gives it to Waterman, who stabs towards goal and hits the post.
No one in the square.
It was never a confident kick.
He almost sensed that he didn't think he wanted. When he did get it, he stumbled, think he was under pressure. Then he had time to steady and gave him a rap early in the game, saying he was a very classy and skilled player. Let himself down there.
Just over, 15 minutes remaining. And the Eagles have some momentum now. This is Lovett on the outer side. Getting free a lot for the kick-ins. Could almost be 50 there too as Lewis knocked it away. Lovett up towards half-back. Kicks towards centre wing. Malesso behind, but the strong mark is taken in front by Spalding. 18-11 to 12-12. Spalding goes long towards half-forward. Hughes and Ugle. Well, Ugle's enjoying himself down there, if nothing else. This is Turley in trouble. Oh, he was a bit lucky. Picked up by Eishold. Clever hand pass out wide for Febey. Febey settles, kicks towards goal. And that's
Darren Bennett has 5, and he kicked 4 of those in the first quarter. 19-11 to 12-12. 14.5 minutes left in the game. Be a superhuman effort for the Eagles to get up from here. Hart can't get it out of the centre. Heady can. Melbourne generally has been superb in that department of the game today. No doubt about that. Narkle, Grinter. And Melbourne just a little bit too solid. Stretch taking the hand pass from Jay Viney. And Stretch is still going. He could run right down to the 50-metre line. Centres the ball. He's played a good game, Spalding. That is a behind. You can take my word for it. Under 14 minutes left in this clash. Good tune-up for the finals by the Demons. I guess many people underrate them. Brennan to kick in. It was Darren Bennett firing and Gary Lyon back in form. And Jimmy Stein's finding some of the same. They could be a problem. Malesso at right half-back flank. Langdon the target. As the ball punched clear. Obst has done nothing wrong today. Steins, he's everywhere. Did not look where he kicked that though, Jimmy Steins. The end result obvious. Heady taking the hand pass. Langdon went at it one-handed. They're hard to mark like that. Jackson from Steins again. Obst once more. And Eishold gets cannoned into by Ugle.
It's a clever kick from Obst, but he really gave Eishold a chance there whilst he was running with the flight of the ball. He knew he had space in front of him. That is, Obst knew that Eishold had space in front of him. The kick was a very good one on his left foot.
19-12 to 12-12. 7 goals the difference. It's been a bit of a pasting for the home side, having won their last 15 games here. But Melbourne, victorious last year by 2 points, should certainly win by more than that today. Eishold's kick is another goal. So Melbourne's 20th. And that will really sew it up. 20-12 to 12-12 at Subiaco.
Yes, and Melbourne, I mean, having played in the last 3 elimination finals, that experience really is coming to the fore today. And there's no doubt they want to get back into a grand final like they did in '88, even though they were well beaten. They don't want to finish up in elimination. They want to be a bit further up and give themselves another chance. They're certainly showing that they will be good enough to do that today.
Well, full credit to John Northey, who came to this ground last Sunday and watched the game against Richmond, and obviously the planning has stood Melbourne in good stead today. The Eagles, of course, missing some determined players, and that's been, I think, an element of their game. They've certainly been out-muscled today by Melbourne. There's a free kick going Melbourne's way. It'll be taken by Steins. Worsfold, Wilson and McGrath missing. 3 very hard workers, but Melbourne have carried all before them this afternoon. There goes the kick inside the 50, off hands. Hart waits behind. Alaxos has run his heart out. Back to Hart. Hart kicks through centre towards half forward. From behind Jay Viney goes the spoil, didn't succeed. Waterman stabs it in short. Lewis takes the mark, 35 metres out from goal. Should register a score from here.
Brett Lovett just unlucky not to get a hand on that, but still a good kick from Waterman.
This man high amongst the best for the Eagles today. Too few trying to do too much. Lewis, good-looking kick. It's a goal.
Those have kicked goals. It really has been a fine team effort. Scott out of the centre for the Eagles. Low trajectory kick. Grinter gets around Nark to the outer side. Yeats. Well tackled. No, not well tackled, says the umpire. He didn't have the ball. Mainwaring can't believe it. Yeats from the right half-back flank. Kicks it close to the boundary line. Steve Malaxos, the only one to really read that well. And he came down with the mark. Mainwaring this time, marking just inside the line in front of Yeats.
Malesso now to centre-half forward, Langdon centre-half back.
Sumic leads out and marks. Been well held today in the main, although his kicking, I guess, has let him down a bit. What's he kick, Ross?
I've got him 2-5 and 1 out of bounds.
He can and does usually kick better than that. And he's directly in front. He'll kick right on 50. Or kicks into the man on the mark, and Steins, who's had a great day. Kemp, Lovett to the boundary line. Bounce doesn't favour Mainwaring. Yeats, Begovic. Calling forward as Kemp. Yes, he has seen him. Making good position. Now Kemp can play on. Beautiful ball. Oh, shocking hand pass. Straight to Lovett. He can't believe it. Mainwaring. Tingay. Both applied tackles. That's Yeats, the other one. Eishold, Wilson and McKenna. Langdon and Spalding. Turley fumbles. Langdon out of bounds. I don't know, he must have been colourblind there before. It was a perfect hand pass to the wrong man.
Yes, all the other Eagles forwards, though, in defence of Kemp, in some respect, were just standing still, had no one to go. Two with either a handball or a kick.
Scott wins it forward. Begovic out of mid-air. Hart couldn't control it. Tingay left it behind. Narkle cleverly. Begovic is away then. He's on centre wing. Not a good kick, or was it? Yes, not a bad kick as it turned out. Not sure that was the intention, but Mainwaring's got the ball. He's at left half forward. Lowered his colours to Yeats with a lazy kick. He finds Sumic on the lead. Just one step in the kick from Chris Mainwaring. Sumic has this ball.
He's had a fair share of the football, Dennis, hasn't he, for a full forward? 11 kicks, 7 marks.
Yeah. He's kicking from right on the 50, I'd suggest. Slides it across the face. Malesso couldn't hang on. Off hands and a point. 13-13 to 2012. So Collingwood, the Eagles and Melbourne will all be on 56 points. Hawthorn, with a very healthy percentage, are on 52 points. It's going to be a storming finish inside the 5 in the run home over the next 2 weeks. This is Febey from left half back towards centre wing, knocked on by Hughes. McKenna leads back in the race and does it well. Guy McKenna, forward of half back. Langdon on the lead, knocked away by Spalding. It ricochets back to him. Gets the hurried kick down towards left half forward.
Ugle tracking it. Oof. Leaves it for his teammate Brennan to Begovic. He'll have to get around Bennett. He does. Short pass. Picks out Heady, who does well, because Obst was closing fast. Langdon. Febey almost catches him. Langdon's kick to right half forward flank. Lewis up one-handed. Plenty of Melbourne players at the fall of the ball. Grinter should get there first. Nearly caught with it underneath him. Lewis. Campbell. Hit the dirt. Or kick the dirt. Pass. Road. No mark paid to Irving. Yeats out of the fence safely. Oh, strict, brilliantly done. Knock on to Tingay. Ball bounces kindly for him. Tingay up towards half forward. Awkward looking kick. Wilson and McKenna. Brennan. Danny Hughes relishing almost the move to the forward line. Ugle, a knock on. That wasn't too clever. There was no one there to pick it up. Jackson feeds it to Wilson for a goal.
People have cast an eye over the 5 over recent weeks and suggested the Eagles perhaps can't win it because of geography, and Melbourne couldn't win it. That's the premiership we're talking about, because of ability. Well, I think they should reconsider. Melbourne have been superb today. It's on the Eagles forward line. Road on the way to Lyon in the back pocket, who kicks to the boundary and runs it out of bounds. Well, that's gone 15 metres. The umpire is taking a lot on himself to suggest that was deliberate. It was angled away as well, and I think Lyon, understandably, is ropeable.
The other thing too, Dennis, as he was about to kick, which he was going to go longer, he's in fact tackled and his foot was retarded slightly, so the ball almost dribbled off the end of his boot.
Yes, that's in the realm of fortune telling from umpires as the ball goes across the face of goal. Irving, good strong mark. It was a good kick in from Melesso too.
Yes, he didn't have a shot at goal. He gave them a chance by settling to the edge of the square. And Irving, who was out bustled in a previous set-up by Peter Road, did very well.
Irving, point-blank range. That's the goal. The Eagles 14th. They're 14-13. They trail Melbourne 21-12. Just under 6 minutes remaining. Dean Irving, certainly a player of the future.
It was a good kick here by Melesso. Fortunate to get it in the first place, I thought. However, you take them as they come. And Irving, who's gone out of the game a little, worked very well in the centre, and then at centre-half forward. A lot being asked both he and Scott to alternate out of the ruck at centre-half forward. Now is Scott back on the ball, having spent some time on the bench. Irving trying to fill the gap in that full forward line to assist Sumic, and Melesso at centre-half forward.
So the margin is 41 points. They've built on their margin all day, Melbourne, aided by that great start. Darren Bennett getting his goals early in the game, 4 in the opening term. 20, 21, 33, the margins at the breaks. Now even more, despite that last goal to the Eagles. Tingay has tried very hard over the ball. And will have a ball up alongside the centre circle.
They have been very good in that centre area, Dennis, haven't they? They've worked very hard. They've been first in. They've been physical. And they've manned up.
All the little things have been done in there. Spalding gets it down. Malaxis worked forward by Scott. Touch ball out of midair by Viney towards centre wing. Febey left the ball behind. Lewis picks it up. In trouble. No longer. Kicks inside the 50. Sumic in front, takes the mark on his chest.
Did well there to get around Campbell, because Campbell did at front position, and the ball, as kicked by Lewis on the left foot, favoured Campbell. And Sumic pinch front posse, as you see this on replay, just got around in front of Campbell, who had the advantage initially.
2 goals to Peter Sumic today, coming in for kick number 13, so in that department he's done well. And it's a goal. That's his 3rd. 3 goals to Peter Sumic. Everything counts at the moment, even though they can't win it from here. It'd be a miracle if they did, but percentage could count for the double chance. This from Lewis. Pinpoint.
Yes, he did well there, Sumic, and that takes his season tally to 69.
Darren Bennett with 5 today has 75. And as Dennis mentioned, 4 of those came in the first quarter. 4.5 minutes left in this game. Scott taps down. Narkle shovels it over the top to no one in particular. Waterman was grabbed, but not in possession. The advantage will it be paid? Scott has played on, but the ball will be brought back. Waterman has done well too. He's kicked 3 goals himself. He gave another one away at the other end to Steve Malaxos. A last-minute inclusion in the side, and he has performed creditably. Just over 4 minutes remaining in the contest. A high kick. The forwards had liked that one too much. The end result was okay because Mainwaring's marked it. Might be a little bit too far out for him.
I think so. He's not a penetrating kick.
See the 50-metre line. Stuttering start. See, that's the defence sort of a kick. You make a liar of us. Goal umpire says it's not his decision, it's a mark. Well, I thought that was through.
Yes, he almost make a liar of me today. Troy Uger did last week, and I said he would make the distance.
Well, goals are hard to pick today. One at the other end that looked as though it might have been touched, it wasn't. Obst up high, the big pack of players. Grinter almost caught with it. The crowd was certainly looking for a holding the ball decision, but that would have been rather harsh. Although I suppose those two out of bounds deliberately against Melbourne players, Campbell and Lyon, were rather harsh as well. Maybe that's being harsh on the umpires. Scott taps down. Tingay off the ground. Spalding slaps it back. Mongaxos and Obst are there. Obst from mid-air. Well played. He's played well all day, really. Ugle caught well by Danny Hughes. Lovett went through. Out to Scott it comes. Dribbles it along the ground. Stretch and Narkle did well to get a kick in. Back to the centre wing position in the CUB sign. Wilson up towards left half forward. Ball ricochets. Back it comes to Febey. Wilson might have been looking for a free, and that's out of bounds. I don't think deliberately this time. We'll see a throw in.
21-12 to 15-13. Just over 2.5 minutes remaining. Steins down to Wilson, upended. Steins goes off the ground cleverly, keeps it in front, close to the boundary line. It's out of bounds. Just taking a look at the run home for the sides then in this battle. In the top 5, the West Coast Eagles finish with Brisbane and Geelong, both away games. Melbourne have Richmond at Waverley and Hawthorn at the MCG to finish off this season. What a game that'll be. The kick will come back. Will be taken by Melbourne, I fancy. Jim Steins. Hawthorn, mentioned them against Melbourne at the end of the season. In the last qualifying round, they have Carlton next week, and Collingwood have Fitzroy at Victoria Park and North Melbourne at Waverley. Some great football lies ahead. The Spalding has the ball ahead of him, pulls it back. Ugle got back, takes the defensive mark and decides to run it out. So we're just going through the motions now. 15 wins at home come to an end for the Eagles. Kemp got it to Ugle. This is Heady kicking towards half forward. Lyon kept on his feet well, confronted by Sumich, knocked on by Campbell, and again combining so well Melbourne right until the last minute. Lovett storming around the outer side, kicks inside the attacking 50. Well, Ugle, springboard diver this afternoon. Hughes in the pocket, pulls it back and misses to the near side.
Danny Hughes only one behind, but he has kicked 2. One of 12 Melbourne players to score goals today out of their tally of 21. They really have been shared around. Spalding, Hughes, Tingay and Jackson have got 2. Bennett got 5, 4 in the first quarter. Brennan in front of Tingay. Just over a minute left in this game. Febey over McKenna. He should be able to hold his place in the side after starting on the bench. He wasn't there for very long, let me add. It's been a good team effort today from Melbourne. Hughes. Obst for a goal, close to the siren.
Now by saying the ball was thrown out. Free kick to Ugle.
Obst has kicked 1, so it's going to stay at 1. Troy Ugle to take the free kick just off the kick-off, but that might be taking something away from Hawthorn yesterday, and also North Melbourne against Footscray at the Western Oval, or Carlton's effort against Essendon. Brett Heady. Some great football played in this round. Narkle taking the mark. Phil Narkle left half-back flank onto Hart. Breaks away from his defensive 50-metre line, kicks long to the edge of the square. Jay Viney spoils effectively. Ball loose. Well, 2 Melbourne players nearly collide. Stretch and Yeats. Stretch finally comes away with the ball as the clock ticks down to the siren. Danny Hughes, can he get another goal? Feeds out the hand pass well. There is the siren. It won't be a score. Or will it? Out convincing winners. The final scoreboard here at Subiaco, the Demons 21-13, 139, defeating the West Coast Eagles 15-13, 103.
Weren't they terrific, Melbourne? You can take nothing away from them at all. John Northey came here last week, as we mentioned during the commentary, had a look at the Richmond game, obviously took something away with him from that, and they've been plotting and planning the downfall of the Eagles all week long, and my word, they've been tremendous this afternoon. They started very well, led by Darren Bennett. He kicked 4 goals in the opening term, and that impetus really kept them going. And there's a bit happening out there on the ground too. A confrontation, I think, between a radio commentator And was it Rod Grinter?
I think it was just an interview, Dennis, but it looked a bit ugly for a while, but Darren Bennett came and dragged him away.
Some interview.
It was. I don't know if he got a word in.
Must have been a good question. They've dragged the interviewee away.
They're very wise. He might get his microphone broken. Things like that happen over here, don't they?
Yes. They're enjoying this. Look at Melbourne. They're coming off as a group. And they're tossing it back at this crowd of the Eagles. There's been a lot happening on the ground. Darren Bennett is celebrating. He's triumphant. A lot happened on the ground and a couple of skirmishes between these two teams. But the last word for Melbourne.